Hello, everyone, and welcome to the One Piece podcast, episode 843 for the week of Monday, November 18th, 2024. My name is Zach, and I'm here with a guest I've assembled ad hoc tonight. um, First, I'll introduce our very special guest, translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump and Manga Plus. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Yep, I'm here because, of course, there is no manga. So,
So I've heard.
what better place for me to be than
Yeah,
on the podcast?
about the manga that isn't happening this week.
Yes.
Uh, We also have our anime recap host, Sam Leach. How's it going, Sam?
Hola.
And
Out of
last
out
but
of
not-
out of anime containment.
and also, yes, true, with the full Ewan McGregor beard, which I love.
That's what it reminds me of.
It's your own beard. Shouldn't you know what it reminds
Wait,
you
who
of?
do I look like?
By the way, someone should see if this
Movie
is working
star,
because
yeah.
we are live. But before I go to that, Chica Supreme from the Shoujo Sunday podcast, our sister show, is on. Hey, how's it going, Chica?
It's going. Hi, everybody.
Hi. So I think we're live. I could probably so we're doing this live on YouTube. Hopefully it's working.
Okay,
if
looks like
not-
it's working.
Okay, good. If not, I'm just talking into the void, but I'll double check comments and stuff as we get there. So this was a very unexpected break. Not only that, but Stephen, we also had a 2-week break. What are you even doing, Stephen? Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure you have nothing to do now.
Right. I have no other work, no other jobs to do at all.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. That's why I'm here, actually, is to be the one person who says, like, no, we're not having a chapter this week.
Oh
since
crap! You know, I just
apparently-
realized I have not read Akane Banashi yet.
Well, there
For
you go.
today.
You got something to do after.
Don't spoil me, people watching. Yeah.
Oh my god,
it is
we're about to
working.
read
Good.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Did you? Oh wait, it's over. Even I knew that. Yeah. So welcome everyone. We're on YouTube. I think we're also on Twitch. Hopefully, because I said it should be right. Oh no, I don't think we are. Let's make
We're
sure.
on YouTube. I just checked.
And now we should be on Twitch. So if you're listening and we're a little bit disorganized, that's why. But I'm very excited because we're going to be taking, it's basically like a piece together week because of all of those breaks that we were talking about. Stephen being, so lazy about his work and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, well, so yeah, obviously, I guess let's just go into that, which is that, yeah, we came back. We had one chapter, and the first 2 weeks break, which the news was out there that yes, Oda went to South Africa, and he saw the production. They're doing some filming, I assume, and he did some stuff while he was down there, and he came back. He finished a chapter. And then all of a sudden, we got word that it was an unplanned absence this week. And basically, there was a bunch of confusion because it originally said, I think on Manga Plus, it said like 2 weeks off. And people were like, whoa, wait.
But only
really?
the English version and none of the other languages.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what ended up, and a whole other thing.
There was a lot of confusion, and then they changed it back to say like, oops, like, oh, let's put it back to next week because they hadn't made an official announcement. And I think that was the point where I was like, okay, people were already assuming there was going to be a break, and then they changed it back. And so I spoke up on Blue Sky where I was like, yeah, no, there's not going to be a chapter this week. Like, the initial signs were correct, which did get around a little more than I expected it would, because I thought people had already like assumed that was going to be the case. And then there was a bunch of like, oh, the official translator said it, blah, blah, blah. And I was
Stephen
like,
Paul
oh.
did this intentionally.
Yeah, right. I was pulling strings and creating conspiracies and such. But no, I was like,
always.
I was like, oh, I hope I don't get like in trouble for this. As far as I know, I don't think there was any issue. But yes, it did eventually get out. I think the official count said, he is out for due to physical
Illness.
unwellness or something like that.
Unwellness.
It's a very vague term in Japanese.
And we should
yeah.
say, you posted this in Discord, but it is important for people to know, I think, generally, because we all worry about his health all the time because he's been taking a lot of breaks. And he did have in 2015 when he had the tonsillitis, and he went through that whole
it was
one
one of those years, yeah.
And then he had the eye surgery, the laser eye surgery.
To shoot lasers,
to shoot lasers out of his eyes. Let's be clear. That's what he said. I trust it. He has the money. But if we're hearing about it, that means he's better now because he's ahead enough.
Usually,
presumably.
So I will say this, because it is a 2 week. They did say they confirmed in their, the Eiichiro staff or whatever, official accounts. They did confirm that, it'll be off for 2 weeks. I'll tell you this. This is my exclusive. Is that they were already it was already in the schedule that he was going to get a week off next time. So for the second of the 2 weeks, so it's possible that they were just like, well, okay, we already had him scheduled off. If he's feeling sick, we're not going to take the chapter he was working on and then just push it to the second week, and essentially switch the breaks from the second week to the first week. I think they just said okay, well, we'll just keep him off the schedule for the second week, and so I don't necessarily think that means he was sick for 2 weeks worth of time. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to get across.
Right. Yeah.
And it could have been anything. It could have been he could have been feeling under the weather. He could have had a bad case of jet lag. He was able to finish one chapter that he maybe started before he left for South Africa, and then he was like, I can't catch up in time, or maybe he caught something on the way there. There's a lot of stuff going around right now.
Well, Stephen, I think I actually know the answer to this mystery. Because the mystery, because he made a comment in this week's Jump saying that the Mr. Children live show rocked. They just get cooler with age, and the entire staff put on an amazing show. Electric. To be clear, again, he wrote that, I guess, probably when he started the chapter or whatever, started. I don't know when
or something.
Exactly. I'm sure it's from several weeks ago. But maybe that's where he picked up his cold, or whatever he had, COVID.
He thinks he's not keeping his story straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this would be whatever the opposite of an airtight alibi is, if he were committing some sort of crime. So there's that.
He's leaving the clues out.
Yeah, he is. Oh, you're sick? Well, I saw you at the Mr. Children concert on whatever date. Mr. Children also recently did that volume promo thing, and he's obsessed. We know Oda's obsessed with Mr. Children. Yes. They also, for those who don't know, they also did the ending theme for Strong World, right? I'm getting that right. Fanfare. I know it was called that.
Strong World, or was
that's what I'm. No, Film Z.
Fanfare.
No, Film Z is Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
Fanfare is Strong World. I know Avril Lavigne is definitely Films Z.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
Z, as we say here.
Fanfare was my early lesson that when a anime movie has a big theme song, that's the end credit song.
That was the first one.
They're not gonna use it as a cool intro song moment.
Movies are inverted. Yeah, movies are inverted. You get the cool outro and not the cool intro. Although actually they're usually pretty, ending themey. So how have you all been dealing with so many breaks? Actually, Chica, before we even get into that, what have you thought of the Elbaf stuff? We haven't had you on, I don't think, in a couple of weeks at least.
Is it? Yeah.
I don't know time.
It's been a couple. I mean, first of all, I was very happy that Robin has bangs. So I was like, oh, yeah. Because I liked when she had bangs. And then I was like, she doesn't. And I was like, okay. I mean, forehead gang representing, I guess. But I personally didn't need it. So I was just like, But yeah, so I liked her getting her bangs back. And in general, it's been pretty fun. So to me, I'm just like, breaks wise, I personally don't mind it. I think it's cool. I want mangaka to take breaks. Please take breaks. Don't work yourself to death. like I'll
We've said
still read,
forever.
so yeah.
We've said forever a monthly series would probably behoove him, but he'll never do that. It's that, you know. What was that? It's funny though. We've had so many breaks over, like the cliffhanger for this one was not. So it was the I fallen and I can't get up. Life alert.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And also,
thank you. By the way, Zach, thank you for sticking up for me and noticing that I said won't get up instead of can't, because it's not actionable. We're not running afoul of any trademarked.
Is that still trademarked?
I have no idea.
I doubt it. You're probably fine. But it does imply something different. It's implying that he, well, I guess he could, if he can't physically get up, I guess you can say won't get up, but it more sounds like, oh, I'm watching this show. Do I have to get up? That's more what I was thinking. Dr. Saul is up to. Doctor.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to think of that, because they call him sensei. That's why I have it as doctor. And I was kind of thinking like, okay, well, if he's been like doing all this Ohara stuff, maybe he's like considered a professor there, like Clover. So that's why I kind of went with doctor, but
could be
who
professor.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like he did dive into the academia from the little we've seen.
I mean, aren't many professors, don't they have doctorates? So,
Yeah, but I feel like they still would prefer to go with professor in most circumstances.
Okay.
To be fair, I think if I had a choice between professor and doctor, well, actually, that's a tough one. I don't know.
Dr. Saul, PhD.
Yeah.
Professor
Saul, PhD.
My parents have PhDs, so, or at least when my dad, before he retired, he liked people. It's like at school, oh, doctor, da, da, da. But then if he's like around his group of friends, they all call him prof. Prof, what do you think about that?
My dad is doc, but he's not a professor. That's actually inverted as to what I would think it would be. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of options here, Stephen, when you come back from this break.
This is all good to know. Yeah.
This is absolutely good to know. So as we said at the top of the show, please send in your questions, comments. We'll take them here on the air live. But we also have, I know, Dispiece. I mean, Stephen, should we just go straight into that?
We do have some Dispiece. I don't know. I
noticed
noticed
we
that
have a ton.
We do have comments on YouTube, which I can see, but they're not showing up on our little research.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, no, they're not showing up for me either, which is weird.
Unfortunate.
I don't understand why either.
Does it need to be like recoupled with Restream, or
maybe?
I was actually
whichever we could read them. Yeah,
I was actually gonna ask, since we have Sam on, if we could get like a little anime update, like how is Fishman Island going so far? Because I know you had some thoughts.
Oh, you do have thoughts. I want to hear.
I haven't watched yesterday's yet. I was really let down by the first two so far. It's like a hard thing to judge because I knew that these early episodes were gonna suffer the most.
Chopped up. Yeah. Okay.
Because there's like the original run was not like badly paced or I mean, like it could be better, but like it's not like horrible.
So where did they start with this? Are they still in Shabandi?
Yeah, they're starting with the opening of the time skip, Luffy on Riskaina picking up his hat. They've so far the first two episodes are like the first 5 of the original episodes squished into 2. And I was just like, because it's just like so over tightened and like just like nothing lands, like everything's just kind of like moving from one thing to the next without like
I watched
giving you any time to like be impacted by any of the moments. And
I watched the first one, and the biggest egregious error was fake Nami just randomly appearing. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows at this point that in just a scene. I mean, when you don't, talking with Brian Newton, who did the first 3 seasons of Rick and Morty, and currently fight girl, right?
Invincible fight girl.
Invincible fight girl. I forgot the adjective. Which please check out. But he like really like opened my mind to what animation directing is and knowing where every little thing is. And when you're cutting something up like that, you lose the room. Like you lose the 3D space that you're in. Not to say, look, I mean, I'm happy to see any digestible version of the Fishman Island arc.
But now it feels like you might as well have been watching the recaps of each episode back to back.
As well, a lot of people do though. Like, I mean, people watch YouTube clips. I think that's like not the majority, but there's a lot of people who do ingest One Piece.
Yeah. Okay. So a phenomenon you see on YouTube, either because they're trying to like get around like copyright or whatever, like people will post like anime scenes. But they'll like every like 4 seconds there'll be like a very like hard cut, like they're trying to squeeze a lot more of it into the one video, and like it has that feeling where you're like feeling the jumps, you're like feeling the like where like they would have had establishing shots or follow through motions or
is it like they're doing like those weird TikTok like super fast like crossfade like transitions between shots or something?
Crossfade, it's like
the blur and then it's like the next scene.
Starlight.
Yeah, they don't really like fade, but like the example from like the second episode when like they've just beat up the pacifistas and they're running away, but then like Luffy stops and he turns and he realizes that Rayleigh's there. Like there's this animation of Luffy's feet like skidding on the ground. And then there's just like a awkward cut where he's already faced, like they don't show him turning and seeing Rayleigh. He's just already facing that direction. And like they got the music playing like, like this would be a very emotional moment if like anything was like paced emotionally,
It kind of sounds like I'm trying to remember if it was one of the specials. I think it's like the one where they're recapping Marineford and it's like, they saved Luffy's like, Ace, like we saved you, and then it's like a hard cut to just Akainu's fist through Ace, and it's
that episode of Sabo.
So yeah, that might have been it. It is so abrupt and so funny.
I mean, like, and this is a kind of fascinating example of it's like the power of direction, right? Like compare like everything we're talking about now to like Fan Letter, which did that mega fast Marineford recap where like the fastness is like artistic. It's part of the emotion of how the episode's trying to make you feel. And it's successful as overbearing as it is. And where did
our friends go?
Are we still live, or can people still see us?
It says live. Okay,
I see Zach's
audio.
I see Zach is chatting with us.
Yes,
but we don't see or hear him.
No,
and we can't see or hear Chica at all, either. Oh, Chica's back.
There's Chica. Zach is just playing around with our software. Yeah, that's an interesting conundrum. I feel
and sorry.
It's probably just a thing where it's like, okay, we know that we're going to have a break of however many weeks, and this is what they probably said, like going into it. It was like, okay, we're going to pick up the production. We're going to air new episodes in whenever it is, April or however long it's going to be. So they said, okay, we have X number of weeks to fill in. What can we re-air? What can we refactor into something? And they probably said, all right, well, Fishman Island is a good chance to do our filters, to do all the re-edit stuff. And it's probably just a case of like, it's just a few too many episodes to cut into a few episodes, and there's just going to be some pain along with that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because like I imagine, like in a few years there's gonna be people catching up with One Piece and they're gonna be like, oh, I can pick up post time skip with this batch with log.
Oh yeah.
And like I feel sad because I'm like, oh, we're so close yet so far.
Yeah.
On like a really like ideal compromise. And like I'm speaking to somebody like I love Dragon Ball Kai, but also Dragon Ball Kai.
Yeah.
The first few episodes are kind of weird. Like they move a little too fast. But that's
Dragon
just kind of
Ball
a consequence of
to be fair,
the whole project.
The manga moves so incredibly fast when you read. Like I was shocked by how fast Dragon Ball the manga moves.
But then like once you get out of the first few episodes, I feel like the pacing is like, mwah.
But at the same time, I remember at the time, what was that, 2012, something like that. We were all like, oh, if only they reanimated this, or like the technology is better than it was then, where they did those interstitials. It did look messy at times.
And something I was kind of hoping they would do is like reanimate a scene or two here and there in places where they need to like smooth things over, where like the original footage just doesn't work when cut up.
It looks more like they just filtered everything. You're right.
They just I mean, they filtered. They've like punched some things up. They've done. They're doing some things to try to make it more engaging, but like if like the macro pacing is still so liquid.
Yeah.
Should we move on to should we get to the first questions, or do you want me to do YouTube, Stephen, first, or you want to start with this piece and then we'll move to YouTube?
We have YouTube questions?
Well, probably.
Okay. Well, we do have some.
I was hoping you'd say. Yeah.
We do have some DSP's questions, so we can go through these. It looks like we just have 3 right now. So I'll start with Straw Hat Rigby, who says, "Hey, OPP, it seems like a lot of the fan base since Whole Cake Island has been expecting that each island afterward will be a certain Straw Hat's island, like how Wano was supposed to be Zoro's island to expand his backstory. When we got to Egghead, I think we all expected Frankie to take a larger role, but we know that didn't really happen. So I'm wondering, with how much Usopp has been wanting to get to Elbaf, how upset would you be if Elbaf didn't end up being his island? Personally, I'm not expecting a very large amount of Elbaf will be quote-unquote dedicated to Usopp, and maybe he just gets a couple of cool scenes. Would you be disappointed if that was the case? As always, thanks for the time and have a great week."
I never really wanted that badly to go to Elbaf at all. So I kind of can't lose here.
Wow.
But the fact that like they did establish that Usopp wanted to see it and wanted to go there.
I will say at least in the first couple chapters, we are already ahead of like both Frankie and Zoro's Usopp's involvement.
Agreed.
As far as like them, Usopp being the Elbibaboo. With that is
wow. we did Wano Boo back in the day, I know, for Wano.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. But they definitely have deferred to him once or twice where he's like, this is how things work on the Island of Giants. So I think already he's gotten a little bit more of that expectation fulfilled. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does have more scenes. I don't think that the story is going to revolve around him in any way. I think it's going to continue to be, the Luffy.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, we're also in the point in the One Piece story, the overarching story, where things have to happen. I mean, Egghead is a really good example of that. Like, Frankie just got swept up in the plot. Like, if and many other things, but like, even if Oda had ideas, I feel like he put them aside to get them, the thrust of what he needed to get across there. I could 100% see that happening. It's Lucy and the football and Charlie Brown. Like I just Peanuts. I just see that happening again and again. So I don't want to get my hopes up. As you said, though, I think the way he has done it is he front loads the material that's relevant to the character. Like Zoro is the introduction we get to Wano. Remember the seppuku
kind of
whole scene
a little bit.
Which not 100%. I'm not saying it's satisfactory. But Zoro's at the front of Wano. Frankie does get some scenes where he talks to Vegapunk and he's nerding out. Like, okay, a little bit. And that's kind of what we're seeing from Usopp now. He's nerding out. He's the what do we call it? Elbafaboo?
El Bibaboo.
I feel like Frankie, like if Frankie's got like character work coming up in the story at all, it's probably going to be if his pirate heritage is ever brought back up again. I feel like that's
well, we have the Adam tree here too, which is super relevant to
that is true
Frankie's origin for the crew at least.
And this also does feel like we're ready for it to be a Robin arc too in Elbaf with Saul.
They're I mean, look, we're having two.
Okay, so is this going to be
talking about the haircut? So we're gonna. Yeah.
Is this like a thematic like, continuation of like Water 7, right? Because we got Adam Tree, we got Robin and Saul, we got Usopp.
I mean, the last one was Enies Lobby. Are we moving backwards? Are we going into like inverse Skypiea next?
Wow. That's interesting.
Inverse Skypiea?
Yeah.
Up to your imagination.
Fishman Island.
Yeah, or maybe it's like a ring of land around a thing of like precious cloud. Anyway, what I was gonna say is I think he is at the point in the story where things are like conglomerating and he's taking parts of the plot and like weaving it in, because like Egghead had stuff from Enies Lobby. It had I'm like there's other
I mean, the subplot's all leapfrog, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they always do that in One Piece, but I think Oda is amping it up like noticeably since the end of Wano. Like he's like, okay, now I'm gonna really start bringing these strings together, and no Doflamingo pun intended, and we'll see, kind of what happens, and we'll let the characters. If there's one thing I know about Oda is that he kind of just lets the characters dictate where things go sometimes.
Sure.
And it definitely feels like that with Egghead for good and for bad. I think it was. I can't believe Egghead was only 63 chapters, which is a lot, but for One Piece isn't a ton. But we've had so many of these many weeks off that it's definitely felt longer. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, because Egghead's long if you think about it as like, it's the Saba Odi of this stretch of the series.
Oh.
Right? I don't know if I would. I think it's like the Water 7 Enies. I mean, like it was. I don't know. I don't know what I can compare it to. Yeah.
It's like a lore dump kind of stopgap. Yeah. Kuma and Bonnie are there.
Saba Odi was only like what, a dozen chapters?
Government intrigue that doesn't resolve then and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But it definitely was a more cohesive story than Saba Odi kind of on purpose cuts off, in the middle.
Celestial dragons get punched. It's got everything.
True.
Yeah.
It's got everything. Oh, well, there you go. So you got Enies Lobby.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
You got the stuff from Skypiea, the clouds, which were actually really important at the end. The Pyrobloin, which for longtime One Piece podcast listeners, that's the trivia question that didn't that get Greg on the show or something? Like that was like one of the big ones.
I think it was part of the written test or something.
Yeah, now we all know what Pyrobloin is, though, including Oda, who probably forgot. Yeah, no, I want to do a retrospective of Egghead at some point in the future. I can't believe it's been like 2 to 3 months already since that ended. It definitely still feels more recent. But what were we talking about?
Usopp.
Usopp.
Yeah,
I'm still disappointed Frankie didn't get more. But I'm hopeful. I'm hoping for the best and expecting the worst for Usopp in that regard.
Wow. Which
Usopp would do too. Actually, no, he'd hope for the worst and expect the worst or something. So it's really in his
extremely negative. Yeah.
Yes. Which we all relate to. That's why he's the everyman.
Yeah.
Let's see what a Big Mike here has to say, which is, "Hey OPP, I had another one of my recurring nightmares this past week of Big Mom trying to kill me. I also had several nightmares in the past, including one where the dub was canceled when One Piece was pulled off of Cartoon Network's Adult Swim Toonami block a few years ago because Funimation wasn't getting enough revenue from DVD sales. And another nightmare where Oda was plagiarizing the creator of Fairy Tail's previous work, Rave Master. And for some reason, when I dream about One Piece and World of Warcraft are always the same thing. Do you guys ever have dreams about One Piece? This guy has a lot of dreams about One Piece. I'm just gonna say that.
I was gonna say therapy. Yeah, so I yesterday dreamt about Funimation losing the rights, and they're like, please stop telling me about that. I'm just imagining that poor therapist who has no idea what's happening. Or dream reader or whatever it is. I've lost the thread.
Do you have dreams about One Piece?
Oh, is that the question?
Yeah, that was the question.
I lost that in there. My embarrassing story, which I'll tell here in front of 40 people, that Ed often recounts, is that when we were roommates in college, he had been marathoning DBZ, like the sub, for, I don't know if it was the first time, but I like got him back into DBZ at that time. And in my sleep I said, "Don't worry, Vegeta, you're cool," or something like that. Because I do talk in my sleep, which is why I hated that Ed would just stay up until all hours of the night while I was sleeping.
He's getting all the blackmail material.
Because he gets all the blackmail information. But you know, I like how I'm trying to soothe Vegeta's ego, a thing that is gigantic.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. But that's I've definitely had One Piece dreams, but I don't remember any offhand right now.
Yeah,
nothing that comes to mind.
I think one time
except my fear of the DVD. Sorry, Chica.
No, it was fine. No, I think at one point I had like, you know, when you have like sleep paralysis and stuff. So it was like I knew I wanted to get up and like read. I don't what? It's not. Oh my god! What? Dofi's.
What word are you looking?
Dofi's arc. Dofi's arc.
Dressrosa.
Dressrosa. Yeah.
So
I wanted to. I was like, I wanted to get up and I had plans, and then I had sleep paralysis. And I'm just like, this can't stop me. Can't stop. So something like that. That's the only thing that can like come to mind. But I'm sure I've had other dreams too.
So you were dreaming about Dressrosa?
I was like, I wanted to read the next thing. So it's like that was my plan for
it was on your mind.
It was on my mind, and like I had sleep paralysis. So I was just like, I can't get up. This isn't gonna stop me. Like, eventually I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna read.
Sam, have you ever dreamt about One Piece?
I have no examples to share at the top of my head.
No, please.
Yeah, honestly, I don't either. I can't remember.
If anyone would, Steven, it should be you.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with this series for long enough, but yeah, I don't.
Are there any series you've worked on that you have dreamt about?
Not that I can remember.
I mean, they're dreams. They are fleeting.
Yeah, exactly. They disappear.
The only reason I remember the Vegeta one is because Ed made fun of me for a long time.
Yeah,
so I can't forget.
Joke. Yeah.
I was gonna ask if, I guess this is like a cross between like an AO3 thing and an Inception or whatever, but like what arc would you place yourself in a dream so there's no actual risk or bodily harm, if you could choose?
In a dream. So if you were going to dream about being
yourself being in an arc, I guess not playing the most pivotal role, but maybe playing a role.
I mean, you know, Whole Cake Island's pretty cool. Like you just hang out on an island and eat a bunch of delicious.
Run away from Godzilla.
Snacks.
Wasn't the Big Mom thing like the first thing that they said?
Yes, being chased by Big Mom.
Being chased by Big Mom. I want to be chased by Big Mom. That's I mean, that is a good example, especially if you're hungry and you're sleeping. I should have asked which is the worst. Which don't you want to be? I don't know. The Davy back fights do sound fun though.
Yeah, I mean, like you don't have to.
You get to play
sports. Like, yeah, you could just be.
You could be the They have concession stands. That's
Exactly,
great. I would do
yeah.
that. Yeah, that's a good
You
one.
could buy a badge and wear it.
And you're safe. Like, I don't think any spectators were murdered in that arc, as far as I recall, unlike every other arc.
Yeah, which one I would not want to. I mean, like, I think you can rule out like Impel Down. Just, I don't want to be in a torture prison.
That's a bad dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with Buggy and Mr. 3, that's not, and Bon Clay. Well,
yeah.
What about Nukama Land though? Like then yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It's still a
prison.
little dire.
Still not great. Yeah. I'm not saying it's good. It's just better.
Still at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do Fishman Island because I can't swim, so I would die. Like, I know they have the tool.
The bubble thing.
I would find some way to die, and I wouldn't want it to happen to me. So I couldn't do that.
Chica, we live in the vacuum of space outside of, and none of us.
I wouldn't go up there either.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I'd probably die up there too. Didn't they just get those 2 astronauts?
No, I don't think they come back. I don't think they come back until like in the middle of next year. Yeah, those.
Yeah, they had to delay it.
If you're listening, NASA astronauts stuck on the International Space Station.
Did the movie Gravity happen for real?
No, that movie annoyed me because it was like so just like never go to space. I'm a space fan. For those who don't know this podcast,
okay.
I don't want to personally go, but I want humanity to. Specific people definitely right now. Stephen, any other questions before I get in trouble?
So we have a prompt here from one of our generous patrons, Usopp D. Great, who says Loki is a 3-eyed giant. Discuss. I'm assuming that's because he has his headband, his eye concealing headband on.
That's a good. Didn't Tien do something? Tien Shinhan and Dragon Ball do something like that?
Tien Shinhan. To get imprisoned?
No,
put up in chains?
Or did he just always? I'm trying to remember. I thought there was a point he
did. Daima introduce something like that, or
maybe? No, I don't know. I haven't
that could be. Yet. Yeah, that could also be like a folklore thing. Chinese folklore thing.
I wonder. So, I mean, we know Big Mom. How did Big Mom, quote unquote, acquire pudding? Like, how did she?
We didn't find out
because it wasn't Loki. We know that because she tried to marry Loki off to Lola.
Unless she tried and failed with Lola, and then Big Mom was like, "Hey, Loki, what's up? What are you doing?"
Wow, that's messed up.
Yeah. No, I think probably age-wise that
Giants hated.
I don't know.
And well, also the Giants hate Big Mom. That's like
that's true. Yeah,
she did eat a bunch of people. Spoiler alert. Kids and she killed evil. She killed Ja Rule or Yorul.
Oh boy, that's a trivia for us. Which one? Yeah.
It's crazy because the one that's alive is still alive. We were talking about that last week too.
As far as we know.
Well, they mentioned.
They did say. They mentioned. You're right.
I mean, I'm sure he's infirmed, and I did the math on his age, and it was something crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Because she's like 60 something now, so he's probably like
300
or 300. Yeah.
No, I think it was. I wrote it down. Whatever week that was, it's not really that important. I keep forgetting the questions.
So would Loki be a 3-eyed giant?
I mean,
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I like what was it? I think what you guys were saying in the SGS a couple weeks ago that it's gonna be something stupid. Like,
yeah, that seems very likely. Just knowing Oda, that he'll have some punchline to it, a Katakuri-esque punchline.
That was such a good punchline, though.
Is his obscured face like a mystery, or I thought it was just kind of his design?
Loki?
No, I guess he's got the bandages. I suppose.
Yeah,
he can't see. I assume.
Yeah, we haven't seen his eyes yet, so we were me and Greg were speculating that he's gonna have like some very goofy looking eyes.
Cookie Monster eyes, and I'm not just saying that because Cookie Monster's on the brain for me all the time, but that would be perfect.
He's got the Sharingan.
Literal. I like mine better.
I don't know if Loki is a total badass and he has Sharingan, like that's just I don't know.
How do you think he got to be a badass?
Like Oda, this is not the One Piece that I know and love anymore. We've turned into Naruto.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, even if it is
I could see
badass.
like there being some sort of cool reveal, like when he gets out of his chains and he can take the bandages off.
Mm-hmm.
I need to add him to the roster.
Well, J Murray Eel on the chat says he has really pretty eyes. I want shoujo eyes. That's what I want.
He's got the
there you
Sanji
go.
curls. He's got the judge curls.
Oh boy.
I know. I just want like the Luffy scene where he goes
Throw
all
that
shoujo.
wrench in their works.
Yeah, now I do really want shoujo Loki.
Yeah.
If we had Steve here this week, I would make him draw that. And then he'd say, "No, Zach, I'm not."
Carrot's
drawing
fan art, Loki.
Yeah, exactly. Carrot's fan.
that." Right, Carrot's fan. I forgot. Carrot draws all clampish, I think is what we called it. At the time, that was a while ago. I can't believe how long ago that was. Do we have any other questions, Stephen? From
Yes, we do have SNP has been writing in. Hey OPP, Otis scale strikes again. Okay, so we have they have selected a little clip of the who was, I guess this was Goldberg carrying the Sunny along the rope bridge that we briefly saw in the last chapter. So they say S&P says, as far as we know, Gerd is 17 meters, almost 56 feet. So Goldberg is probably around 20 meters or 65 feet. But somehow Goldberg is carrying the Thousand Sunny, which was supposed to be 56 meters tall, 183 feet. Even though most of the height comes from its mast, the height of the ship alone probably is still around 20 meters, which is clearly not right compared to Goldberg in this panel. So the question is, if you can change between these two, which would you change? So you have two options here. Make Thousand Sunny smaller or scale up all the giants. For reference, Frankie is around 240 centimeters or 7 feet. So you can decide if the Thousand Sunny is too big, too small, or the right height.
this is like a lot of math. And I was told there would not be any. No, but I mean, I thought it was cute the way he was holding it. There was also the cute is what we're looking for, like not math. No, but they also had, what was it? The bird.
The bird was Moonin.
Yeah,
Mugen was the bird, and he was like carrying it like in its mouth practically, and the bird was much smaller. You know, it was like a normal bird size compared to Roto. So. Yeah, this is just Otis strikes again.
I think that 1 week where there were all the mistakes and we learned that it was just mistakes and that's all it was. Yeah. That should really have taught us a lesson here.
Mm-hmm. Like I couldn't really. I count money, y'all. I don't like math. I don't have a dog in this fight. Like okay. Maybe the giants could be bigger. I don't know.
Yeah, you guys talked about this a lot on the SGS, and I agree. I'm still getting through it because it is a long. But I'm like 2/3 or more. So if you address this, please tell me. But the perspectives you mentioned in the cover of, which I have it here. So now that we're on video, I could show
110.
This cover 110. The perspective is awful, and they look like tiny people next to Luffy there, which is true. Even the Panda Man version, well, no, the Panda Man version is just one of the 5 Elder Stars, but it should have been all of them now that I'm thinking about it. Missed opportunity, Oda. What I was going to say is his ability to draw perspective, it was better, I think, in volume 14. Generally than it has been recently. I think he has moments where it's been good, and then he has moments where it's just like, I don't know. He's been drawing too many big people. That's the problem.
Yeah, clearly, like the actual scaling of like how big the characters are supposed to be is like one of the lower priorities for Oda when he does the manga. Like he's just looking for what is an interesting perspective, like what feels right to him at that moment. And that's why, like, I'm sure he was like, oh, I think it would be funny or cute or whatever if like Goldberg is carrying the Sunny over his head and it looks like yay big compared to him. And that was the entirety of his thought process there. He wasn't
I
thinking
think
about, wait, how big did I draw it previously or whatever, anything like that.
Yes, it's just the idea of size difference.
Yeah.
I think it would be funnier if they were holding them like the strings on a baked good or something, like just daintily, like I don't know. I think that would be funnier with
The
Goldberg.
strings of a baked good.
I'm sorry, I've been watching too much Seinfeld lately to get my head out of things. They were talking. Like when you get a box from the bakery and they have the strings and you carry it by the strings.
Oh,
your
okay.
fingers. I'm trying to describe it for people not watching, but just like this, I think by the mast would be a funny way to carry it versus over the head, which is, it's funny, but it's not. I'm just trying to think of the funniest way for Goldberg to like walk across the bridge with. Anyway, any other questions?
All right, so yes, we have some more. People are continuing to send them in. SNP also
feel free.
says,
Yeah.
yes, no, we'll go through them. SNP says, sorry for the double question, but I realize this is probably a more important question to ask. Steven, can you explain what is the idea of the painter that Stanson mentioned in the latest chapter? Yeah, so that was the they killed the moose or whatever, and it was like a giant monster, like reptile moose thing, and Hyridin was like, oh, we'll carry this, like we're gonna serve this to our friends in the Straw Hats, right? And whoever he was with, he was with Stanson, yeah, that's right. Says like, oh yeah, we can't move it because it's too big, we don't have the painter. And then the way that I translated it basically included all of the context, which is that painter was the name of the word. That was the word that Oda used, painta. But the kanji that he put underneath it was sunstone. So I translated it as like, oh yeah, we don't have a painter. Those sunstones can move anything or whatever it was that I said. So that was me just like literally putting all the information that was there into one panel. So your guess is as good as mine, honestly. We haven't seen, I have a feeling that will probably come to play whenever Oda explains what the deal is with the cat transforming into a lion and back into a cat.
If we ever learn that.
Yeah, because that was the one thing that like you couldn't just say like, oh, that was the absinthe hallucination, because like me and Greg were saying like, yeah, Zoro comments on it that like, oh, it just turned back into a cat. So there's definitely some kind of magical power. This is their pyro blowing or whatever, that changes how they do things in Elbaf. That's what we're gonna find out. We just haven't seen it yet. That's my assumption.
Yeah, I don't know if like I also am conflicted because it feels really trivial. Like everything that happened there feels like, okay, we might never see that stuff again or address it. But I
don't know.
Probably wrong because Road is. I keep forgetting the official one because I keep getting questions from both.
Yeah.
Rodo. Okay. The Rodo Poneglyph says that. I mean, he's there and he's running after them, and I'm sure we're gonna see more out of.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're gonna see more Road.
Literally, the Straw Hats are trying to run down the drawbridge, or not drawbridge, the rope bridge to get to presumably where the main part of Elbaf is. So we're gonna see that soon, and I'm sure they'll have their own little like what is it, Lilliput Adventures, Gulliver's Travels sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to more of that. I do like the general idea of the scale, even if Oda's not executing it perfectly. Like, I don't know how much of a fan in general I am of giant stories, but I do really like the idea of the Straw Hats in a place where they're kind of just insects, essentially.
I mean, I think in terms of how he can show it in the manga, and I say this not to no pun intended, it is a massive challenge for Oda, because in order to do it right, he needs to have large panels where he can show, like, it needs to be small. There needs to be enough detail that he can show you the Straw Hats and then also have them be in the context of something gigantic. And like, you really need like full 2-page spreads to do that sort of thing. And Oda just does not have that kind of real estate to work with right now, like in terms of his page speed and like how often he's able to get chapters out and how quickly he wants to get through this material. So you know, yeah, I just feel like this is just going to be something we have to put up with.
It's also possible he's saving like those real, like, you know, scale moments for later.
I mean, I think there's definitely going to be some big, like, you know, Luffy and Loki and the giant, the picture of the tree of Yggdrasil in Elbaf and that stuff, like that was super cool. And I think those are the moments that he wants to accentuate and to really show off with those. So, and those were the two best, I think, examples of scale so far. So I do agree with you there, Zach.
Yeah. I mean, I have to assume we'll see something substantial at some point.
All right, we have another question from Straw Hat Rigby. He says, since you're live, I'm going to do another one because why not? I have gotten a few of my friends into One Piece in various ways, a few by the anime and a couple by the manga. Either way they get into it, it's fun waiting for certain landmark moments for them to get to so I can see their reaction. One of my friends reading the manga just got to the C train going to Enies Lobby, and they were utterly shocked at the CP9 reveal. How many people have you gotten into One Piece, and what memorable reactions to the story have they had?
My brother binged like the whole thing when at the during the pandemic. That was fun. Nice. Although I think he like absorbed a lot of the beats, you know, through osmosis through me already. So it was more just like you know, like trying to get somebody into something for years, and then like they finally do it, and like it completely lands with them.
The CP9 reveal I did not have ruined for me, and that was a good one, even though I was marathoning at the time.
Yeah, like with Water 7, he was like, I had to watch all of it in just like a few days because like I needed the crew back together. I needed Robin back in the crew.
I mean, it's also so damn good. Like I agree with both of those reasons.
I don't know if I've ever gotten anybody into One Piece. I feel like
yeah, Chica, you are kind of a newer visitor to One Piece.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
who got you into it?
Not to what myself. I like saw it on 4Kids, and but me getting other people into you know what? Yeah, my cousin a very long time ago, he fell out of it, but a very long time ago, and I was just like, you need to make the transition from like 4Kids to like how it normally it's different, because he's like, no, it's childish. So it's like, you don't understand, it's different, you've got to watch, please. So I feel like he's the only person that it's like, oh, I've come close. I'm sort of working on Gianna, but it's like in general we have a lot
too much. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. In general we have a lot going on, but it's just kind of like, you know, check it out, it's great, do it. Yeah, like you know,
keep at it, it'll work eventually.
Yeah. But I mean, other people, like, not really. I think I just I have to know them really well, like if I'm attempting to say, oh, watch One Piece, because then if I know them well enough, I can be like, oh, I know what appeals to you, and I think this specific arc appeals to you, so watch until you get to this arc. But yeah, like just regular people, like no, because usually when I start talking about One Piece, then they're like, oh my gosh, there's so many like episodes, there's so many chapters, and it's just like
they say it exactly like that.
Yeah, like that's like I'm just like, okay,
very interesting speaking style.
Right.
Sam or Stephen?
Well, Sam said
Sam said, yeah, I forgot. I knew someone.
Yeah. I haven't really, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess my wife kind of, like, she's just sort of absorbed it through osmosis for the most part. She was not a fan already when we met. But my little sister used to collect the Viz volumes back in the day. In fact, I think if I'm remembering correctly, that I want to say that when I got the job from Alexi to start working on it, I think I just raided her room back home to like take all of the, the first 20 volumes or something like that, to start my Viz reference collection so that I could, look up what the old, translations were. And I think she still checks in on it from time to time, and like her boyfriend now does watch anime stuff, so we'll talk about things like that every now and then at family get-togethers and stuff. But yeah, not really so much for me as far as like getting people into it. It's such a big thing at this point that I feel like it's more difficult to find people that don't know what it is already. It's sort of like, oh, okay, well, if you haven't checked it out, they'll figure it out eventually, or they'll find out about it.
For me, so I actually just did a podcast. I want to get the name of it and it all correctly, but it's about introducing a non-nerd host to nerdy things that Tara Sands recommended I go on.
Oh, so Manga explaining? Did you do that?
No. That is a similar concept, but they're it's just the one guy, Zdarsky, right? Chip Zdarsky, is that who's the?
No, Manga explaining has like 4 hosts.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but the other, I was saying the one I know isn't acquainted with manga, and then the other 3 are.
That's Chip, yeah.
This is just the one-on-one. So she just has people. It's a similar concept, except it's all things nerdy and not just manga. So I had to choose which One Piece things to into like. There's so much freaking media now.
Yeah.
But I'm not the comic, so like television. So I chose the first 2 episodes. I chose the first of the anime, the first episode of the live action, and fan letters, because that had just come out, and I wanted to show the breadth of like where things were. I don't want to spoil too much because I would like folks to listen. I'll give a hint. She's a mom, so you could probably guess what she really enjoyed. And that I think fan letters confused the shit out of her. And was just like, and also for someone who's not really acquainted for anime, that is a very anime, like it is kinetic and fast and dizzying. I think we here and probably our listeners are big fans of it, but I understand why a non-acquainted person. So I got to recently do that. She did love, as I said, Opla, the live action. So it is doing its job in recruiting people who would not normally watch any anime into One Piece. And it's easy. It's only 8 episodes, so it's like not a very difficult thing. She only watched the first, but she said she would be recommending it to like all of her non-nerd friends. Like this, you could sit down with your family and watch. That is the way she put it. Ed introduced me, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna follow up on the fan later commentary, which is that I do feel like in some ways it is kind of like recommending Strong World to people as like this is your this is like this is what One Piece is like, but it is also very front loaded as far as like, oh, it is like a lot of One Piece, like the characters are all dressed insanely and like they are acting super like extra all the time in the movie. So it's a lot to process the first time, even if it is like a fairly good, like here's a comprehensive look at all the things that One Piece is like.
The thing is, I described this, and I've said this on the podcast before. I mean, the thing about One Piece, the pitch, it's very hard to come up with a pitch because it is over 1,100 episodes and chapters and all that. But the way I would pitch recently is, at first you're like, how am I ever going to read something this long? And then when you finish it, you're like, oh God, I wish there was a lot more. Because that's I think everyone's feeling when they catch up. They're like, crap, now I have nothing. I have to wait. I don't have 1,100 more episodes or chapters to read or watch. And look, is that going to convince the person? No, but it definitely makes them think like, oh, this is how you see it. Besides that, most of the people I introduced to One Piece were before the podcast. That's the reason. One of the reasons I started the podcast is so I shut up about One Piece to my friends.
Yeah.
Because I was just constantly shoving it in their face, and they're like, "Please, Zach, shut up. I get it. It's good. I watched it. It's good." So I haven't. This podcast is. Yeah, that's what I did. I'm like, let me just shove it in a corner. That's what the podcast is for too, though. I'm hoping people see it and like be like, what is this thing, and how have they been doing this for 15 plus years? Yeah, I could talk about that for a while. But I'll put the information for I'll mention it when I get all the information for it. Someone did mention something funny related to that, although now I can't find it in the chat. That they were trying to get, so Patrick McClafferty is saying they were trying to get their boyfriend to watch or read One Piece for years. Hey, I've been trying to get my partner to watch and read One Piece for years, and it's not happening. And they know I'm down here every Sunday night since 2009, before I met them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I do feel like in terms of like partners, like people that you live with, I do think that like just not necessarily being like, hey, let's sit down and you have to watch this, but like you just put it on if they're not kind of paying attention or whatever, and eventually through osmosis, like something will click for them or something. At least that's how it is for me and my wife. Is like, I can't remember shows.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was like, a lot of her shows or movies or whatever is like, even if I'm not watching it, every now and then, like, you get up, you go to the kitchen or whatever, and it's like, oh, who's that? Like, what are they doing right now? And they'll, the person you're with is gonna like explain it to you or say something like, oh, okay, all right, wait, but weren't they doing something else before and stuff like that? And that's kind of like the natural hook that, at least if they understand like something about who the characters are and what they're doing, that's how the interest forms, I feel like. And whether they actually do anything independently or not, or if it's just like when you're playing it, that's kind of how it starts.
I was going to say, I think I watched the first live action, and I think granted kids, my wife fell asleep, I think, during it. Yeah. To be fair, I get it. The narcolepsy happens. The name of the podcast, by the way, is Make Me a Nerd with Mandy Kaplan. It's not out yet, but it should be out soon. I'll let everyone know when that happens. Any other disc piece? Someone's writing one.
Same person's writing one, but
while that happens, we can go to Blue Skypea now. If you'd like. Yeah, we do. We have some questions. And don't worry, everyone on YouTube watching, listening, build up those questions, think hard about them, and then ask away. And I'm sure they will all be, I don't even want to say. Yeah. So first one in no particular order is from Big Mac. It says, do you think Oda knows that Yamato and Godzilla share the same birthday after watching Godzilla -1?
I don't think that Oda knows the birthdays of any of his characters, aside from like the ones that he named for like Luffy's birthday or Usopp's birthday or whatever.
Yeah,
because that was the whole thing. Was he would just be like, "What, you guys want to suggest what the birthdays are? Okay, we'll go with that." So
that's true. I don't think he knows when anyone's birthday is, except the Straw Hats. The next one is from Patrick, who says, I think it's the same Patrick, but correct me if I'm wrong, that I mentioned earlier. That jewel that Vegapunk gave Bonnie after the flashback has yet to be explained. Oh, that's true. Do you think it could be a storage medium? He backed up Kuma's memories, personality before the final procedure. The jewel was also like that was supposed to
I don't
represent
remember
the
this.
eye thing. Yeah, I like vaguely recall. Like, wasn't it like after that? So the whole thing is it's like a flashback of a flashback because she had went in the paw
Right.
earlier in the arc, and then
Right.
we see it later. And I think it's like in that in between, right, where she like after she gets
That's
blasted
right.
out of the paw.
She sees like she has a little conversation with Vegapunk. That's right.
And
I
was
don't
that
remember
where
the jewel thing though.
It's not in volume 107, which is all I have up to here.
Mm,
But
okay.
I didn't realize how beefy it feels. Anyway, yeah, I don't remember that offhand. Oh right, I'm reading questions. Let's see what else we got. I think that's all on here for now, but please ask away. So we could go to YouTube, unless you have anything on the subreddit Archipelago. I don't know.
No,
Sorry,
there
if you
was
pulled
nothing
that up.
on Reddit. Should we mention, by the way, that we are, if you didn't see it on social media, that we're pretty much kind of sunsetting our Twitter account for now.
Yeah, should we talk about that? I don't know if that's like worth
Sure.
the conversation.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I just thought, since you mentioned Blue Sky, that we're.
I mean, we had already been doing this transition, I'd say, for a long time.
We were hoping that something would work out that was not Twitter.
Either we were hoping that Twitter would kind of turn back into what it was, which even we complained about all the time back then too, but had merit and was. I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Blue Sky, I really have enjoyed since its inception. Obviously, it's been going through growing pains, since it's added like 1 million per day or whatever it is.
Right.
But I think it has a ton of potential, and you could like really craft. I know people call it their was safe space or whatever, but I don't. That's fine with me. I have enough danger existing all the time, and I want to. So the point of social media is to meet new friends and to hang out with friends. I feel like that was the original purpose, and also when you do something like this to get the word out to people who would be interested and that you're interested in entertaining or whatever. Right. It turned into business, I think. Anyway, that the philosophical reasons aside, it also one of the main drivers also, besides the many obvious philosophical ones, was that like we had almost 50,000 followers on there, and we have less than 2,000 on Blue Sky, but we would get more response, sometimes by a large margin, on Blue Sky, which is insane. And I'm like, okay, if I'm like reaching no one with the things that we actually want to get across, like the posts that Adil did are great, but they're like about like anniversaries. Like, okay, I get that this is what a lot of people come for, but that's not really what we're, news, podcast stuff, interest pieces, and that's fan interactions, like those weren't gaining any traction anymore. So that's the main reason I thought, and we all kind of agreed, I think.
And this most recent like jump to Blue Sky that a lot of people are making, like this was like the big one. It feels like where it finally like enough people are going over there. It feels enough like it feels much closer to what Twitter used to feel like.
Right.
I think it feels better than what, for me at least. I think it feels like it can foster an atmosphere much better than Twitter. Like the potential is much more there.
It's hard to like completely abandon Twitter just because like there's still certain people who are sticking with it, and there's still like a lot of like artists and stuff who like might never.
A lot of our guests, I don't know if people know, but a lot of the guests I had been contacting through Twitter for many years. I don't know, Chica, if we originally talked. I think you emailed me, actually.
Yeah, it was email.
Yeah, so the nice old-fashioned way to do that. But now I have to do that with more people and remember. Anyway, you were going to say something.
But yeah, like
anyway.
this recent push, like I'm checking Blue Sky way more than I was just like in this past week or so. I'm like everyone's you can feel that there's like a
it's a very
gravitational shift happening.
interesting. It's these haven't happened in a while. They used to happen a lot. And like 2009 when we were starting, like social media was really going through like the growing pains.
Yeah.
Like Facebook. I remember when Facebook first showed up. Like it's interesting to see.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm going from the ghost town of Twitter and looking into the ghost town of Blue Sky now. And now it feels like, oh no, there are people here.
It feels alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think Twitter is just. I mean, we'll still use Twitter, but then it's like. I don't know how to feel.
It's just so fake. Like it's like junk mail of social media.
There's all of these ads that are on there. And then I think we were just kind of getting to the point where we would have posts or we would share posts and people would be kind of gravitating to what we were sharing versus our actual podcast stuff. And so that actually started to annoy me. So like I was like, okay, let's scale back. I'm just gonna be putting up stuff about our podcast and then sharing like friend related stuff. And I feel like it's just it's like we're seeing more on Blue Sky. So I like Blue Sky. I haven't abandoned Twitter yet, but it's, I mean, if y'all would follow us, maybe I would, more people.
That's one of the reasons I also idealistically I'm like, okay, if we're like a big account on there, although getting 5 likes for something, just by 50,000.
How big is that?
That's
really?
But I mean, at least to others, maybe they'll look at it and say, okay, if they're willing to make this jump, maybe I can too. Like, bigger influencers or whatever. I'm not saying like we're influencing Mark Hamill to have made that jump, which I think he did. But but like people in our community, maybe they'll look at that and say, okay, I could think of doing this. And it really has been the last week. Sam's right. This is like just, I wonder why nothing's happened in the last week or two that could.
Yeah. I think, some people too would be like, well, what do you mean you're not going to do, piece the tweet anymore or whatever, or like you're leaving the audience behind or something like that. But I do think that it is true for this podcast, at least, if we're gonna navel gaze about this for a second, that like there have been many different points where like the podcast had a decision to make of like, okay, how are we going to get our stuff out there? Like, what are we going to do? Back before I started, or right when I started working on, One Piece, it was like, okay, are we going to follow the Viz? Or are we going to follow the Scanlation or whatever? And I feel like, Zach, you guys speaking, just for the decision making process was always like, well, let's do what we think is right or what feels best for us, and is usually not the thing that would like gather the most followers or the most attention. And I feel like that's always kind of been a guiding principle for the show, which is not like, let's do the thing that gets the most attention. It's usually like, let's do what works for us. And, that's one of the reasons why we didn't burn out on it, is because we weren't like chasing, we didn't like
glory.
Go full. Yeah. We didn't go full into like, YouTube, where all of the quote unquote the biggest podcasters that are all actually video casts or whatever.
We'd be doing this every week. We'd be like, but sometimes we also like don't want to think about our appearances or whatever it is, or we're running back and forth and we just making a video version. Like, I think I'd probably be up for it, but it's different people have.
But but then like if you surrender to the YouTube algorithm game, where it's like, oh,
we wouldn't win that.
Right. The only point is we would have, you have to win, you have to go viral on YouTube in order to make it worthwhile. And we totally would have burned out, or, it would have had to all be like, leaks and all that stuff. And it just would not be the same.
Well, it's like I always have wanted to do this on our own terms. Exactly. And I think that's why I respect blue sky as it exists today. I hoping that in 10 years when someone's listening to this, I'm sure this is going to be completely irrelevant, this whole conversation.
Mhm.
And I'm going to say, I think I'm right about this, but I'm not positive that most people who listen to us probably are not immersed in any social media whatsoever. Like they
You think so?
probably do it like I don't think most people are. I mean, maybe it's in our generation versus like boomers or the other end. Oh, Simpa's here. Do you want to clap? Oh, we never clapped, to be fair. I just realized. No, yeah, no, Simba distracted me and completely. I don't think that people are so immersed in social media that they're like all the ins and outs and little things are like gonna even pick up for them. And actually, this has to do with that other question about getting people into the show. There was someone I used to work with that, had watched a lot of One Piece but wasn't caught up, and I got him caught up. And he didn't know all the ins and outs of like where to read it or what's going on or how to, it was, I think, as people would say, a casual fan. But I think that's most people because we have lives, and I'm not saying we have lives, but generally people have lives and they can't focus this much attention to it. It's not like when you're a teenager or you're someone like us who gets hyper fixated on these things. It's easy to.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the norm. I could talk about this for a while, so we could move on if you'd like. It's interesting, but it's also going to age like milk, probably, this discussion. Not that we're so.
We did get another comment from Straw Hat Rigby on Discord. It says, just a fun story based on what you're talking about currently. My fiance knows I'm a huge One Piece fanatic. I'm guessing this was about the partners or getting other people into One Piece. My fiance knows I'm a huge One Piece fanatic. We've been together for 7 years, and I've kept asking her to give One Piece a shot, but she kept saying my incessantly bugging her about it wasn't helping.
Yeah, I've gotten that.
So 2 years ago for my birthday, she revealed that the year she was watching One Piece secretly to try and catch up so we could watch together, she got to halfway through Thriller Bark and kept an extensive list of notes of her reactions to story beats. She'd watch one days off at the gym while I was playing games, and she had her headphones on, made a separate Netflix account, all to keep the secret. It was a great birthday gift.
Was she paying for an extra Netflix account?
Just a fun story.
It must be. Must have.
Must be.
I don't know. That's almost like like I'm committing
I would be
adultery on Netflix, but to surprise you. No, that's cool. To be fair, I think I have too much secondhand embarrassment, like to be able to sit. Like the problem is I've devoted so much of my life and time into this that if there's any portion of it that she wouldn't like, I would really feel it. Like I could not sit down and watch with her. I'm just very bad with that kind of thing in general. Like if I like something and I could feel that they're not, or a friend, whoever it is, that I hate that. And I will walk out of the room. It's like a Curb episode. I just can't. I like how we've delved so far into partners here. It's I like at this point, like, yeah, that's probably actually the ideal way for a partner to get into it. Like they do it and you don't know about it, and then they come back and they're like, I loved it. It was great. True or not. Yeah, it's
like planning a wedding proposal.
It is. That is actually very similar to the wedding proposal thing. There are a few things in your life you could do that with, like that you could truly surprise someone. And apparently, One Piece is one of the ways you could do that. It really brought things full circle. How's Simba doing?
He's purring up a
Simba
storm
check-in.
and is getting all tangled in my headphone cords.
So I think we'll take YouTube questions. I'm going to go back to the beginning here, but if you sent them in early, feel free to resend them, and hopefully I won't repeat. But I'm going to look through, so feel free to talk amongst your cats.
Hi, Simba. What's up?
Well, okay, I do hear the purring.
Oh, you can hear it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he's
yeah.
right under the microphone, so. Really?
Well, what do you call it? They're he knows he's getting the attention from all 40 people.
Mhm.
Okay. What do we got? I wonder. J. Murray Eel. I wonder if Loki was involved with the Giants going to O'Hara. Going back to that conversation with Loki. That's a good question. I wonder how the monarchy there works, because I mean, Stephen, I don't know what you were able to garner from that. I'm curious.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like they were, they kept talking about like the princes, right? That like Loki was the son of the king, and then
Hyrudan too was
Hyrudan too,
maybe,
but like Hyrudan was born in the village, right? And Loki was born in the palace or something like that. So there's definitely some sort of situation going on with like the parental situation there. I'm not sure, what to expect, but that's part of the part of what we're dealing with as far as facts that we know.
Mhm.
I mean, Loki is how old? Do we know how old? He's not very old, because he was born the same time as Hyrudan.
Right. Yeah.
Know.
So
Is
it
he
would
like
be
17?
He's a giant, so even if he looks 17,
Yeah.
he's probably 40.
Should I?
It's like inverse anime aging.
Let's see here.
Or it's like in Metaphor ReFantasio, there's the race of people who like have normal youth, but then they just like stay old for 200 years.
Okay, Sam. You're nerdy.
It's the opposite of Saiyans or the Guinan from Star Trek, if we're gonna go really nerdy. I forget.
Right, I'm going through my Viva cards here.
I was gonna say I might bring those out if we need to do trivia.
I know I can just
Always
look
happy.
this up online, but I spent a lot of money for these, damn it. So
so we're gonna use these.
Yeah.
Oda should really just be sending you that for free.
I mean, that would be cool. Hyrudan. Okay. Hyrudan is 81.
You know what?
Spry teenager.
You could flip the numbers around, and that's how old he would be if he were
18.
Human. Yeah. I mean, he is younger. Wait, how is he 81? Because
so
you're right. He was already a kid. Yeah.
Then he's going to be 28 when he has his birthday.
How long are they kids? That's also a good question. Like, does their whole aging process, is it slower, or is it just?
Oda said it was
what's
like
their,
three
their
times.
cat years?
Yeah, it's like multiplied by 3 for giants.
So that means they go through puberty at 30.
Yeah.
Or 35.
If it scales 1 to 1.
I would be going through puberty now. I'd be an adolescent.
So yeah. So if you divided 81 by 3, it's 27.
I'm just trying to think of having been in school in like elementary school for my entire life thus far. Sounds terrifying. But I would really know basic arithmetic.
Oh, do they have nap times? I would love that.
Ooh.
That would be the only good part of like, I'm like a young kid for many, many years.
I know now. I know now that preschool is really ideal. That's like where you want to be. It's half a day. That's good. You play for like 80% of it. You learn a little, but it's like singing and dancing and you play with your friends. It's mostly just that.
Yeah.
And then you bring home the sandbox in your shoe every day. This is not personal storytelling time. Yeah. Let me keep going. That question was about whether Loki was in O'Hara. All the questions we've been, it's fine. Let's see what else we got.
I mean, he's been chained up for 6 years, right? And it seemed like.
So that's only 2 for him. Like, but it still feels like 6 years. That's the thing.
He's experiencing all 6 years.
When we saw,
he only aged 2.
When we saw them at Elbaf, or not at O'Hara, that was just after the disaster. That was like a year or so, or a couple months or something when like when Vegapunk was there. Yeah,
Well, I think that was like days later.
Yeah,
I think Loki, by the way, Loki would be like 64 because, or like 60 because he was born like when Big Mom was in the village before she destroyed everything.
Oh,
Because that
that's
was it was in that
right.
because Big Mom was alive when they're like, and
Okay.
Loki was born. Yeah.
So I guess they didn't Hyrdin and Loki were not born at the same time then. Okay.
Yeah. I'm still upset he doesn't look like that silhouette. I should have known though that he wouldn't.
Yeah, you never know. That could have been his younger before his glow up.
Let's see. Here, Jacob Perrick. I like this question. With the bangs this week or last week, it makes me think back to a question I had on Egghead. So you think they cut Vegapunk's hair or hair? Which Vegapunk would give the best hairstyles?
As a
Wait,
stylist?
what do you mean?
I guess which would be the Edward Scissorhand of the Vegapunks?
Pythagoras.
Yeah, that would have been my
just
choice.
The vibes.
Okay, so who would be Brooke in this scenario? That's what we're saying.
I think that's what we're saying. Well, Pythagoras doesn't have. That's the thing. Would you trust a robot?
Pythagoras looks like he
hair?
takes care of like bonsai trees.
Oh,
yes,
true.
but bonsai
really
trees
good,
are different
than hair.
Than hair. I feel like hair is not the same as bonsai.
If they can cut a tree, they can cut my hair. Right?
Well, that's you, Sam.
No, this is so funny. Like funny in the sense that we had a very weird conversation about Vegapunk. I will not bring it up. I will not bring it up. Sam knows what I'm talking about. Maybe I will tell it Steven and Zach after.
Okay. As long as I know, I'm fine. The audience doesn't need to
I feel like you'll be horrified though. Yeah.
Zach wasn't in that call?
That's promising.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Or at least by the time I was saying all that stuff, he wasn't there. So
Steven?
Do you think Lilith would be good at it because she's evil? Like is that a good quality for a
No, she would fuck your hair up and
okay. Yeah.
Be pleased with herself.
Yeah. And you can't really say no to Lilith. That's the thing. I feel like.
And Shaka is good, but also like he's looking through a visor. So how good?
We don't know what the hell is going on with Shaka's
I think Shaka would be bad, and he knows he'd be bad, and so he wouldn't try.
Yeah.
Do you know who would be the worst? Stella. Stella would probably be the worst. I doubt his vision's great. He's older. He's probably going like shaking hands.
Who gives him haircuts?
He got a head cut. Let's remember. I guess at the time
pre.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh boy,
that's a very good question. That's an SBS question. You should.
Is that why he did it? He's like, I'm
tired
tired of managing all this.
I mean, there's so many reasons. Did you see how gross that was when it was in a jar floating up in the sky?
Yeah.
It's gross.
Well, we already found out that like he washed his hair by like lying down next to like a pool or something like that.
Was that an SBS?
That was the SBS, yeah.
Oh, so I guess it's been answered already.
Oh yeah. I like my idea of like he could just like walk through the clouds and wash his hair that way.
Let's move on. I think we got more questions. Next one. This really hits all the notes here. Gabriel says, Zach, what did your wife first think of the Helmeppo butt scene in the Opla first episode? Is that what wins over new live action viewers? That's what wins over moms.
Was that in episode 1?
I thought that was in 2.
Yeah.
I thought. I'm positive she did not get up to that.
Yeah,
that is probably one of like the most standout scenes in that show. Like it's unique scenes, particularly.
Did they do Luffy's childhood in episode 1, or did they?
I think
they spread it between like 1 and 2.
1 and 2, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe that's what gets all the moms though. They're like, Helmeppo butt. We talked a lot about this. If you have not listened to our Aiden Scott episode, please do.
Yeah.
And someone has to send him that bear if they haven't already. Like we talked to, what was it? I thought we talked to a lot of the other voice actors and actresses, and they got props, but he didn't get the bear. It's just criminal. That's what that is. One person should get that bear. I should keep reading questions.
Gabriel says it was episode 1. Okay, for the butt.
Okay, well, she definitely fell asleep before that. Then, Jog Proof says, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. By the way, I'm not 100% sure. Jog Proof said, I sent it in ages ago, so here it is again. Which One Piece movie would you recommend to introduce my mother, who loved the live action season, but is too daunted by the 1,000 episode count of the anime? That's a toughie. I mean, we kind of said
available. I feel like that's just a good
for a mom.
For a mom, I don't know what kind of mom are we talking. Like,
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
my wife's a mom, and that's way different than my mom, who I would not show movie 6 to ever. Not that I don't think I would show movie 6 to my wife either, but
which one's
you have to tell us animated? Like, how's your mom like?
That's yeah. I feel like Opla is just like a 100% hit record with moms. Like, you can't go wrong. I don't think that's the case with very many other One Piece media. I think that's why it's so like stand out to us. Like, oh, just ordinary moms who don't have any nerdy tendencies really like Opla, but not the case, I don't think, for the anime, and nor should it be. It's not aimed toward them in any respect.
Yeah.
Or if it is, it's over my head. There's no Helmeppo butts, which is what really got all of us into Opla, I think. Let's see. Stephen Parker, not you. Different one. Although isn't okay. Is Hiruden born in the village, or did he just train in the village because the 2 old giant pirate chiefs were there? By the way, the chiefs aren't the king. It's like, is there like so many hierarchical things going on? Like,
yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I would want to know. Is like all the villages that we saw. Did they like how did they fit in? Or are they subservient to like a big city up there, or is that what they all look like? Who knows?
By the way, they also said Loki is 63. Didn't I say something like that? It's around there. Big Mom's 68. I thought Big Mom was younger than that.
No, that's right.
She's happy that I said that, but she doesn't care. Please keep sending in questions if you haven't, because I'm getting close to the line here. Torax says, just see the first 4 words of this and we're in trouble. If there was a hot dog eating contest where the dog was sized hot dog is to a normal human, a hot dog is the same ratio to a giant, which One Piece character would gulp the most glizzy in a 10-minute period? What is I don't know what that is.
Glizzy is hot dogs.
Yeah.
It is? In what language? Or I'm just old.
Yeah. If there was a hot dog eating contest where the dog was sized, hot dog.
Are giants
so yeah, I'm trying to think. Okay, giants are like 70 feet, right? So that's how many?
It is like who can eat a really big hot dog in One Piece?
So wait, I could do the math here.
Or is he saying? Or are they saying the hot dog is size to a human the way that a normal hot dog would be to a giant? So it's super.
So
tiny,
it's 11. Like... no. I think it's 11 times the size. So like a giant's like 11 times the size of a human, or 10 times, let's just say, for the sake of convenience. So a hot dog, if it's like a foot long hot dog, would be a 7-foot hot dog.
I mean, I feel like if it's like which One Piece character
or 11, 7
would have the most gigantic
10.
hot dogs. I mean, it's only Luffy. Like Luffy's the only person who can eat one.
So the hot dog is the size of a giant?
It's like a 10-foot hot dog. It's a 10-foot
giant's
hot
hot dog, but we're a human-sized person is eating it, I guess.
Luffy,
But then,
Okay.
how do you define that? Like, are we excluding giants? Are we excluding big humans? Are we excluding Big Mom?
Although
What about
Torak
the
said you
dwarf?
got it exactly, Steven. So I don't know.
Yeah, I thought he was saying if they were tiny, like if it was normal size hot dogs to a giant. So
Yeah.
Wait, so
They're all
okay, then what's the
super
question? Who can
tiny.
eat the most of them?
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's probably
who's the
still
person
Luffy.
eating them? This is a very confusing question.
Also,
Well, that's where we're answering, isn't it?
how many pigs did it take to make the hot dog?
Hey, we're eating beef hot dogs here.
Beef,
How many hot
cows.
dogs can you make out of one pig?
Or tofu.
Oh
Yeah.
God, tofu.
How much wood could a woodchuck?
Yeah, isn't they have tofu like tofurkey
Tofu,
dogs
yeah.
or whatever they have?
Yeah, mhm.
Hmm. God bless.
They're pretty good.
know.
I haven't had those. I just know they
Okay.
exist.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, they
let's
have like
not get.
impossible meat and stuff, so we could really go out there.
Uh,
Which tastes kind of like I haven't had it for a hot dog.
Yeah, I was gonna
though.
say let's not get too precious about like hot dog quality.
Oh yeah,
It's
and
not,
let's be
Right.
it's not a
honest.
high bar to clear here.
Yeah, well, with the Simpsons joke, it's like a rat and a shoe and like two other random things put together. That's what a hot dog is.
I'm just a Luffy because like
It's
yeah.
always Luffy. I feel like it's the answer.
Yeah.
I lost the plot. Next one was from, where is it? I think Stephen Parker again says, I saw some theories going around. If Shanks becoming one of the emperors has something to do with Loki's imprisonment and his special bounty, both happened 6 years ago. What do you think?
Oh,
Very possible, since he was just there,
interesting.
which is odd also. And they had the whole conversation about Shanks. That's what they were talking about. But he called him a coward. I don't know, just to
Yeah.
provoke Luffy.
Yeah, I think he
or-
was trying to provoke Luffy, but yeah. Yeah, that would be funny. I remember you guys talking about that last week, and I I wanted to make a joke that like if I was there, it was going to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna find out that Loki was the previous he was previously one of the 4 emperors until we didn't know he was defeated by Porcus the Ace, just like we supposedly found out that Ace beat whoever that rando warlord was, because that's apparently how Oda just does backstory now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't
it
know.
is.
I mean, the thing with Shanks is like there's still the big question of like, well, he's the Figureland, and like, how does that all play into this? That he is quite possibly the son of the new head of which U.S. department is Garling the head of now? Was he science?
Oh, yeah, you took over Saturn, so it's the
Saturn's,
godhead of
that's right.
science, not
Yeah.
agriculture. I know it's not agriculture
Right. Yeah, I forget.
or
which-
economics. And then it's very funny that Oda did pick some of the most boring sounding departments you could have, especially for like a shonen manga. You got agriculture, economics, science.
I was just
I
trying
mean,
to think.
respect, but-
So he wasn't in the RFK position. That's all. I was the joke.
Okay, don't do this to me.
Yeah,
Don't do this to me. Not tonight.
Does he still have a worm in his head? Didn't he say that before? That he
I thought
had
it got
a
out.
worm? Oh, did it? Okay.
Figureland? The Figureland probably does. That's probably why his hair looks
Maybe
like
he
that.
I don't know if it
Yeah.
was removed or if it just found its way out, but
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
I think it died in there. I thought that's what I thought, but I don't know, and I don't really care enough to
the
find out.
brain-eating parasite
Yeah.
starved.
Right.
I believe that's the Futurama joke with Fry.
Okay,
Remember
there you go.
That's it. That's what happened. As far as I'm concerned, that's what happened. Another one will find their way in. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think that Shanks, I don't know, that could be
Let's get back around.
that could be related to his position as an emperor. But I don't know, man. It's really confusing.
Yeah, to the fact that we've got to brainworm from that is also confusing. I'll remember some anyway, next question. Let's see what we got here. The to follow up with the mom in the movie from Jogproof. She's a not straight mother. The only nerd, I think they mean about nerdiness. Although maybe not. The only nerd thing she got into was Lord of the Rings, if this helps.
Is the implication that straight mothers are more likely to be into nerdy things than gay mothers?
I don't think it's a straight or gay mother. I think the person meant like not like
they're not full mom. They're not
like
not your normal mom. She only like
she's a cool mom.
Yeah. Not a straight, not a straight line mom, not a some waves. And I don't, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe their mom is bi or something, and I'm just not reading it correctly. Good for them. No, we're getting down. I don't think that helps me at all, though, in my analysis. No. In fact, that makes it more difficult. Yeah. But like, let's say you know someone who only likes Star Wars as their only, like, is that gonna like? What would you recommend? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why is it only Star Wars?
A lot of people. That's just more questions.
Yeah.
How do we break that barrier?
Marvel, I think, is actually probably the one that, if there's one thing that a person is nerdy about, sports. Or they had that baseball special and the football. Didn't they have a football one? Oh no, that's the color spread. I'm thinking of.
That was the color spread, yeah.
And soccer, they did have a soccer one.
We need a Davey Back movie.
Yeah,
we do.
They had the soccer one where Odachi was the guy with the soccer ball head. Yeah.
Did he voice that? He voiced it too, right?
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe.
I think he did. Okay, let's get next one. Patrick again. So I made a comment earlier but forgot to add the question part. What Norse monster do you want to see show up? God, you're gonna make me pronounce this. I mentioned Jormungandr, the serpent, specifically. I know nothing about Norse mythology. I like it. I just don't.
God of War.
Yeah, well, Jormungand. Oda already did the joke where like most of the monsters are already in the whatchamacallit, the intro with
Legoland.
Yeah.
Mystery Legoland. The mystery in Legoland.
Odin's ravens, they had the snake that was Hilmengardr, that's what they called it, which was a joke on Jormungandr.
It's also possible he named all of those things after real things on Elbaf. Like he has a little village that he's making his little.
Maybe, yeah.
It's like someone who has Legos and makes New York City, or like a replica of like an actual place. Which some nerds would do. I'm very excited again to get into Legos. This is not a knock on Legos.
Yeah, there was some guy who did like he made his own like Wrigley Field in Chicago or whatever.
Chica?
I mean, I would never know anything about Norse mythology or monsters, but I looked it up. Fosgrimmen or Fosgrim.
Oh yeah, Fosgrim. I have no idea what that is.
It is a water spirit that plays the fiddle and mimics the sounds of the forest when in water. And he likes to have goats, I guess. He looks a little interested in the photo, so I'll go with him. Yeah.
You reminded me of oh god, this is a real tangent. Do you guys care? I guess we've already done many of these. I went to Norway like 6 or 7 years ago, and we went to go see the Northern Lights, which apparently come here too. And on the way back, now they come, they're everywhere now. And on the way back, it's like past midnight. We're in a bus, and they're playing a movie, and it's this like 1970s thing. It's all in Norwegian. Don't understand a word of it. And it looks like it starts out like a live action thing, but then it turns into the stop motion the creepiest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like a story. I'm not going to do it justice. I believe I forget the exact name, and I think it gives away the ending, but it's about this boy who tricks a troll. This boy is just a complete a-hole. Go back to the troll's place. You'll see. And the troll, of course, I mean, the troll is, I think, it's like a giant troll. So this actually might be relevant. Tricks him. I think he's like trying to eat him. Maybe, I don't know. The kid is like taunting him on purpose the whole time.
Wow.
Like the
Not
troll
smart.
really didn't care about. No, but it does not go in the direction you think. So he's like, okay, let's have an eating contest. Whoever could eat the most. He secretly cuts a hole in the troll's stomach, and the troll eats his own stomach and dies. Yeah. So that's how that went. Norwegian folk tales. And so we were watching that on a bus like past midnight coming back from that.
Oh, gosh.
And it has stuck with me. But that Scandinavian folktale, we might see that.
That's true. Yeah.
Now I wonder, it's extreme, but all like fairy tales are like that, like from long ago at least. They're like cautionary tales. Although
like
for
Sleeping
this,
Beauty, yikes.
They're all.
Yeah.
I mean,
up,
all the Disney movies, the original thing they were based off of, are all really dark.
Yeah.
And I should have put a content warning before the story, but I mean, it's a troll, it's a fictional creature. But yeah, it doesn't even teach you a good lesson because the kid was a dick the whole time and he doesn't get what's coming to. And then he steals all his gold or something after. I cannot emphasize
the lesson is be resourceful.
Sam has that beard, so I have to trust him here. Like I felt the gravitas. We had other questions. Sorry, that took a weird turn. Here we go.
I was gonna say Jogproof with the mom said, yeah, it's nearly 3 a.m. So sorry, I am not making sense. I was trying to specify that she's gay, so suggesting the best female fan service might help keep her interested.
Okay.
I don't know why I just assumed the way it was written, right? It's not just Okay.
Strong World Nami, hot as fuck.
What? So we're just looking for female fan service? I mean, there's a lot of it. You have a lot of choice. If that's
it's our first lead. It's our first actual.
No, movie 7. Is that the one? Am I correct? That's the Mechanical Island. Not a good movie, but it has that with sound effects, if I recall. Oh, I thought we were going for the most tasteless. Isn't it?
There's a sweet spot. You can do too much.
I know you can. You wrote an article about this, as I recall, Sam.
Oh my god, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. I don't think it still exists because we moved the site.
It doesn't.
We moved the site, so you could be happy that doesn't. I think it was an interesting article, though.
So far, the audience has said Stampede and Movie 7, the parody one. So there you go.
Everyone agrees with Movie 7. It is.
I don't even
know.
That
movie is ridiculous. Movie 7's the Mechanical Island one.
I mean, I would have said wasn't like movie 3 or 4 Mechanical Island 2. This is
4 was the Candy Man.
No, don't remember.
You don't remember? 4's good. I like 4. 4's like an actual pirate movie. It's fun. It's stupid, but it's fun. 5 is boring. 6 is great. 7 is for your mom specific. For that, I like the one with the mom.
Yeah.
The one with the mom. The guy with the mom.
For the gay mom, yeah.
For the gay mom. I love it. I love that though.
All right.
So far off.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I will remember this episode.
Mnemonic. Yeah.
It's her mnemonic. This is a question for me specifically. What is the production for the One Piece podcast like, and how has it changed over the years since first starting the podcast? This is very inside baseball.
Oh boy. Well, it used to just be a Skype call, right?
Yeah, just like, straight record off of Skype. And you could tell. You could tell.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we were
rough
doing
going
that.
back to listen because whenever there was always one person at least on the call who like their connection was not good, and so they would just be kind of and then like that the whole time.
I feel
and it
like
was, yeah.
I feel like that got better. Oh, if you want to know, so I think episode 3, it was like I obviously had no freaking idea what I was doing. The way Chica especially will love this. I recorded without headphones and everything, and I recorded the Skype call through my internal microphone with the speakers.
Oh,
Don't
boy.
do this, folks. Don't do this.
Well, because when you started off, it was just you and Ed in a room, right? So you didn't.
Yeah, and we had like
to do,
2 or 3 other. Right, so it was just going to be the 2 of us. Like that was
right.
that was the plan originally. And it just blew up into this other thing, and I had to figure out the technology as we went.
Yeah, after that, a couple years, I don't even remember how many.
2020
was it 2020 that we
2020.
officially started? Yeah, we tried a couple different.
I remember it was the chapter. I remember very specifically.
Oh boy, okay.
Because it was the chapter where the Onigashima project, that one, where like Kaido is like, I killed Orochi, I cut it, and because it was a very good chapter, I remember because we recorded it at least twice that episode.
Oh no,
because of issues with it. I remember Abby was on and we were making some of the same jokes. It's like that's not going to work a second time.
That's right.
And that's when we're like, okay, we got to change the way we do this. And we had already been thinking of doing it local recordings, and that's how we do them now.
We tried a few different things, like we tried Discord recording, and
that was not.
Yeah, there was a recording bot that we had, but that did not work at all. And we eventually settled on Craig. We eventually settled on Zoom calls, and then we all record our audio separately, and
the Zoom's a backup.
Yeah, we have a Zoom call as a backup, and that does get used from time to time. But yeah, we usually upload all of our audio separately. And
I'll say, if the editor does their job right, you don't notice anything at all. So hopefully that's the case. It's tough because of the amount of people, the length of time our shows are, and the turnover time, especially. Like when I was I edited from 2009 until 2020, and it was a lot, and I can never imagine going back to do that again. But I also stopped caring a lot. Like I think you have to get to a point where you edit where it's just like, okay, there's going to be a mistake there.
I think that like people who do edit their own shows, like once they get a hang of it, it's like, oh, now I can fix everything. Like I can take out all the breaths and do all that
I used
stuff,
to do that.
And then they go overboard and then they burn out.
I could do we used to do like podcast 101, like kind of like inside baseball stuff like that.
There were times when, like, if I was handling like a file,
anime,
or if I was doing it, like sometimes I would just re-record parts I wasn't happy with the.
You see, like that's too much work. And also, I mean, the thing I like, the thing I like is also the conversational style, so including mistakes and whatever.
I just don't like when I mumble, talk over myself.
I think with
I wish I knew how to enunciate more.
With our podcast, we just ended up the first 3 episodes. Well, when we started Shoujo Sunday, me and Gianna didn't know each other, so it was very apparent in the first 3 episodes. And then once we got the hang of it, we re-recorded those episodes. So that was just like, oh, we have rapport now. Let's put it out like that. Versus
if I had the time and energy, I'd probably re-record at least the first 150 episodes of our show.
God. What are you talking about?
There's a couple in there I might keep, but I'm like, if I had the technology to go back in time and be like, here's a real microphone and headphones and technology to record. There's a lot of, that's a whole other topic. Torak says, for Steven, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much has being the translator for Vinland Saga prepared you for Elbaf?
1.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we don't know yet, even the breadth of.
Yeah. I mean, there's a very small amount of Norse mythology reference in Vinland, not very much at all, and I don't expect that. I mean, actually, like, okay, so I'll tell you this, like, I'm working on some of it right now, for the for the first time in like 2 years, I think, because we do these omnibuses, so they, when we're caught up, it takes a long time before we do the next part, and it's at the end of the story right now, and so if you didn't know, the story is about Thorfinn, who is an explorer who, settles the first like European settlement in North America. So it is at the end of the story where they are on what is now Prince Edward Island in Canada, and so they are, interacting with the natives and stuff. And there is a fair amount of language barrier stuff where they the author looked up resources and asked for resources for, like, vocabulary and things like that. And so there is a lot of like, okay, what word is this that, is represented here phonetically? What Mi'kmaq word
The
is
Mi'kmaq,
this?
yeah,
Yeah.
Then I went to Nova Scotia years ago, and I
Oh,
remember.
really?
I don't think yeah, that's probably where I'm going to be going soon. I was, and I don't think I forgot the Viking connection, but yeah, no, that's interesting.
Does Vinland Saga end with the founding of the Minnesota Vikings?
Yes.
I don't think it does.
No, yes, I believe that's the end. Spoiler alert. Bad joke,
Yeah.
Sam.
So that's the stuff that I've actually been struggling with, where it was like, okay, maybe this would actually lead to something in the future, that I would have expertise from having worked on it before. But yeah, not a lot of Norse stuff in it, ironically.
I like how the RFK Jr. thing was more acceptable than saying Nova Scotia sounds like a nice place to be. Next question. Sorry, I'm going through comments too, making sure. What Jogproof says, what game do you think Law or your favorite character would get addicted to? I skipped some.
Why
Law or your favorite character?
Or it's just an assumption that Law would be addicted.
If it's not Law, which would be crazy, let's be honest.
That is so open-ended.
I did skip a few, so I'll go back. Sorry for those listening.
No, what game would Law be really into?
Balatro? Is he a Balatro man?
Is he a card player?
And
some kind of cold and analytical, I can imagine.
And I'll add, Ramon Avila also asked, do you think we're going to get any good One Piece games? Or I don't know if that means like in the future or for the first time.
It's called Pirate Warriors 2.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good game. I do like that one. That's one of the ones I have, I think. I don't have many. Pirate Warriors 2, Unlimited Adventure, of course, which is not that great.
A game? Wouldn't Law play chess or something?
Yes.
Yeah. You get addicted
But
to chess.
he wouldn't be good at it.
Yeah.
I feel like he'd think he was good at it.
Carrot would eat up Stardew.
No. Law would be really good at chess because if they looked away, he could use his room to switch.
He'd be good at cheating.
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if that counts as being good at chess.
Law would rule at like the
yeah.
ball cup gambling games.
Oh, I thought you
Holy
meant
shit.
like catch.
Yeah,
the
I thought
ball
you meant
like on the like a street.
Monty, isn't it? No, that's Four Curb Monty is the other one. What's it called? I forget what it's called.
Or just why isn't Law a magician?
Because
why isn't he doing
just
tricks?
be using his powers? That's not really magic.
Why isn't he doing some? Is this your cards?
You know what? Maybe when he retires from piracy.
Would Zoro play like Pokemon Go?
He'd be
awful.
Catch
a lot, yeah. No,
or he'd be great, I guess, because
just from getting lost, just something to do.
Yeah.
be like, wait, how did you get these? Like these are only.
I was gonna say he'd get all. Yeah, he'd do very well, but not do what he was setting out to do.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the.
He'd get
These are
into
only
like
in
those like
Australia.
plug and
How did you
play
get
like
these?
Star Wars like lightsaber motion games. The lightsaber.
You see, more reason for these are the kind of AUs I would like to see.
Okay.
Yeah, personally,
You'd get mad at it and yell at it.
Let's see what else we got. From Gabe Ruiz, do you think Joy Boy left something for the Giants to protect themselves against Emu, and the Straw Hats find it like at Fishman Island with Noah? Not my son, but the boat. I was the only one confused by that.
Left something for the Giants.
That
I don't know.
possible, because didn't you think the whole thing with Emmett and Joy Boy was probably on Elbaf?
It could have been, yeah.
His outfit was Elbaf.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Maybe he was just what do we call it? Elbeaboo?
Elbeaboo, yeah.
Elbeaboo?
Or maybe the Elbafians are cramping his style.
I always just thought that like they didn't need because the way that Oda like depicts them as being like the most dangerous, country or the most powerful fighting force, blah blah blah. I always just assumed like, oh, they're just too strong, like their numbers are too great against humans that they just don't mess with Elbaf or something. But yeah, that's
I think that's a good
point
theory.
about Emmett. Yeah.
Would they have something to protect against emus specifically? Like, I feel like Emmett was one of those things. I mean, obviously,
I think they against emu's weapons, I guess we should say.
Well, maybe I'll add something to this to stir the pot a bit. Like, do you think we're gonna get the Joy Boy story here in Elbaf?
No, I assume that's like whenever we're really going into the Ancient Kingdom stuff.
But do you think that'll be here?
I think it could be.
I think it could be specifically. We were talking about the age thing. Think about it. If Jarl, let's say, is 350, I don't actually remember his full age. How many generations is that really removed from the Void Century? 1 or 2, I guess. Like his grandfather.
For Giants, yeah.
Yeah, like in his lifetime, he knew someone who was in the Void Century. Like that's unique to really any other culture in the One Piece world that you would be so close to that.
It's like how when you like go looking on YouTube for stuff, and it's like here's a video of like the man who fought in the Civil War that was recorded in like the 30s or something, and yeah, that's.
It really shows you how close things are in history when they feel like when you read it in a book, it feels like not, no, I think that would also, the whole thing with inherited will stuff. And I think it would be really cool to see Oda weave that into the plot too. I think I've been saying since Egghead that I think Elbaf is where we really get into the meat of the plot of Joy Boy. Yeah. And also, once we find out the Joy Boy story, that's just the beginning of setting the pieces in motion to the end. Like, we don't even know what this fight is about, like what this the whole thing Vegapunk was like setting up.
Yeah.
Once we know, that's not like, oh, that's the end. It's like, no, that's now we see how this resolves.
And I just kind of feel like
places that differently.
It would be weird for him to get so heavily into that, or just to prop it up in Egghead at the end of Egghead, and then not, and just be like, okay, we're going to take an arc off. We're just going to tell this Elbaf story, and then finally get into, like, I feel like he's set himself up to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, I think we need that's. It doesn't bode well for Usopp, but as we said at the beginning. But yeah, no, I think we I mean, don't quote me on this 10 years from now, but I think we
Yeah.
have a real potential to like really get into the meat of the story in this arc. Obviously we're so early in, who the hell knows, but
Yeah.
I kind of hope. I mean, we're kind of at that point in the story, like might as well. Let's do it. Also it's a giant like freaking tree. It's the Atom tree. There's like a lot of things in the story that have been leading us here. Besides just it being Elbaf. More questions?
Sure.
Stephen Parker again. Giants heights range from 41 feet to 70 feet. Morley is 40. Dory is 70. And San Juan Wolf, we're not counting. We're an ancient giant. And we also talk about the continent pullers, like oars, which really interest me here with the sword. I know you guys talked about that on the SGS, Stephen.
Yeah. What would didn't they say there was like the ancient giants? Who was that? Was that referring to oars?
I
That's what I assume.
Yeah.
What's the question?
It was just a
giant
comment.
shape.
Yeah, but it's related to what we're talking about. I really am interested in the continent pullers. That could come into play here too, but Oda probably isn't going to throw he did last time. I know I was going to say he did not throwing all the spaghetti at the wall. R has more inside baseball questions. Steven, why are you always a very special guest to the podcast, but not introduced like a host like Steve, Ed, or Alex? Is it because
Zach,
of your
why?
official role related to One Piece? No, it's just my spite. No.
Yeah.
It's a spite.
He's keeping me down. No.
Yeah. At this point, it's tradition. I feel
yeah,
like.
it's a tradition thing, and yeah, there is a part of me that even though I can more or less host an episode if needed. I mean, that's what I do with Greg. I like to pretend that I am still like separate from the podcast on some level, which is kind of silly to say, but
yeah. Who are you even?
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I at this point though, I think it's become a shtick. If you go to our website, if you go to the website, I'm ruining the joke though by saying that. If you go to the website, that's his title. It's a very special guest and translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump and Manga Plus, Stephen Paul. It's also on a shirt, I think.
I mean, wouldn't you want somebody to always introduce you as being special?
I always feel bad when every other guest is on, and the first person I say, very special guest, not you.
Yeah.
Stephen Paul.
Oh, that's the best part, actually.
Never seen Stephen so happy. What else do we have here? This is the exciting part.
Reading comments.
Torak says, which One Piece characters are accidentally throwing the Wii remote at the TV? Wow, we're really getting into the depths here. Luffy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very Luffy thing. And maybe Zoro?
Yeah.
Zoro was too good at being a swordsman to do that.
Yeah, that's that.
He would eat the Wiimote. Wow. We're okay.
So I'm just good with the knives. We know that.
Yeah.
That would translate.
These questions are getting more and more interesting. Jake Gustad says,
Usopp would take good care of his technology.
Jake says, Gaimon, smash or pass? So is that like stepping on the chest and just destroying it? Is that
smash.
Oh.
He's taken already.
How do him and Snarfunkel do it?
Snarfunkel.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I have no answer for that.
Why would you want to do somebody in a box? What is the point?
No, it's
isn't he's in a box.
I was like on the next question.
If you love someone for them, if you love someone for their personality, what compromises are you willing to make?
Sarfunkel is the answer to this.
Oh, it's Is it Sarfunkel? I said Snarfunkel.
Yeah, it's Gaimon and Sarfunkel. Yeah. It's with Simon and Garfunkel.
Smurfunkel, yeah.
Smurfunkel. It's look. They're already a perfect couple. Why would we
What was I
even
mixing up?
inject ourselves into that? They're both in a
Right.
box. That's the answer to your question. Someone
Yeah.
else in a box.
Somebody-
They rub the
Yeah,
boxes
it's not
together.
why would you bang someone in a box? It's like, do you love them enough to
Oh,
bang him
We're
despite
in
being in
hour
the box?
2 of this podcast.
Oh,
Yeah,
Chica said
sorry.
the
Go ahead,
answer.
Chica.
It's tantric.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, but remember, he also
Do it with
can't
their
get out-
minds.
Remember, he also can't get out of the box. Like he physically can't.
True.
So it can't be so.
Oh, it's like DBZ image training. When
Oh, that's what it is.
Have
Oh,
y'all
I
heard
hate-
of Barney? Well, of course, y'all know Barney, but
Yeah.
the actor Barney, like he was doing tantric stuff, like on the internet. Like he has reviews, or he had them.
the
actor.
actor Barney.
The actor who played Barney,
In the suit.
the dinosaur.
in this, yeah.
While they were
The next
filming.
question
Those-
is
yeah,
for
let's not-
Sam.
I don't want to know. Don't answer that.
For me.
Sam, the question is the Reel It In podcast going to restart or is it done?
Oh,
Boy.
we
You and Jill
recorded an
talked about it.
episode, and I got to like the 80% point of editing it, and then I procrastinated it for so long that I was just like, I feel like it would just be pulling teeth to pretend like I can keep doing this. I guess like it was a good episode, and I'm happy with the episodes that we released. It's just like the actual process of like, I don't know. It was like you know, like I guess we were talking about earlier with like when you start like editing your own show, and
You could always ask
like-
Delaney or someone to edit it if you want, or Dan.
but that was a combination of like I did like having the full control over the whole thing.
I get
and
it.
I think that
it.
ended up being my downfall. I think that kind of
I got
dashed
there
my
too.
interest
Yeah,
of
your
continuing doing it.
hubris. It's
So
the-
yeah, like it, yeah, like
you flew
you know,
too
Jill
close
and
to
I-
the sun.
you know, it was always like kind of it was a hassle to like even just like schedule, just because like everyone had their lives going on and various whatnots. And then like just my procrastination, I was like, okay, I would feel bad stringing this along much further. So it's sort of like we didn't say it was over, but like I don't see it continuing.
I will say, if you ever choose to do it, I fully support. I still love the concept of the show. I think about it a lot when I see any. By the way, it's still available. Reel It In was.
Yeah, like maybe I'll finish that episode. But like it's got like the problem is it's they got like really outdated, like, you know, like One Piece live action updates. And
I feel like you
which
could take
I feel like
out.
moving forward, maybe we could just ditch that.
Yeah,
part.
I think you could. I think it's a perfectly reasonable podcast without that. And you could definitely skip over those parts if you want.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
Like,
about live
not,
action adaptations and how they.
It's
hold
not like
up.
a never. It's not like it's like a literally impossible to bring it back, but logistically, it doesn't seem very realistic.
We also are taking questions for
Well,
Simba,
logistically
by the
and
way.
emotionally.
We're gonna wrap up soon because we're hitting my bedtime. Next one comes from wait, I saw a bunch. I thought Winston said, I don't remember this sword prediction that the sword in Elbaf is a Saijo Owazamono. Do you know what that is? Steven?
Oh, that's the supreme grade swords.
Oh, the highest.
or something.
You know, I think there's at least a 50-50 shot we never find out what that's there for.
Yeah.
I know Greg was more optimistic about it, but I am very pessimistic after Onigashima.
I'm just imagining like whoever the representative from the sword grading official body is like making a trip to Elbaf and like, okay, we're gonna grade this sword now. This is officially one of the 11. We have to bump one of the other ones out of the top rank to the next one or whatever. Like, I don't know. I find that aspect of the weapon power scaling to be very silly, even more so than the characters.
I am a little disappointed that we don't have more about the swords generally. I feel like he kind of dropped that, especially in Wano when it should have been. Anyway.
I mean, he did reveal that some of them
Yeah.
were, this is this and this is that. But yeah,
To be fair, the swordsmanship in One Piece makes no fucking sense. It's like, how does a
Yeah.
giant energy wave come out of a sword? Like, that always was like, I don't get. Of all the things in One Piece that don't make any sense, that I feel like doesn't even like logically
Well,
completely fit in the.
and I feel like when because that all goes back to Logtown, right? That was when we first found
Yeah.
out about it, when Ippomatsu was talking about
Good
him.
old
And I feel
Ippomatsu.
like I feel like Oda, designed this whole, like, he kind of overshared, I guess. Like he was like, oh yeah, let's say that there's like 3 different ranks or 4 different ranks or whatever, and he kind of just added that in as like color to the story, like, just here's some interesting, like, fun facts. But the problem is, once you set all that up and you start like developing it through the story, is then it becomes like a major focus of the story, which I don't think it is for Oda. Like, I don't think that we're supposed to be on a quest. Like, that's Tashigi's quest, to find all the the sword
Spinoff.
nerd stuff. Yeah, exactly.
I'd
But like,
watch
I
that.
don't think that Oda is necessarily like planning all of that out or going somewhere with it.
Oh,
Um,
this
so
is a good segue though, because I was about to start talking about this. Gabe Ruiz says, when One Piece ends, what spin-off comes first? We all know that's happening because money. Um, I mean, absolutely, we know franchises never end now. Like,
yeah.
it's just, I'm sure. The problem, I think, with One Piece generally is the need. I think adaptations feel that they have to stay with the main cast. I feel like
Hmm.
One Piece has such a expansive world. You could use completely different characters. You could use side characters, secondary characters. You could use one of the Straw Hats in a different. You could do a prequel with Zoro. You could do the stuff with any of the novels. You could do your own thing. I think the fan letter thing really proved that you don't. I mean, I guess the Straw Hats are the focus point, but that you could really have an interesting story set in that world without, you know, just having the Straw Hats be there. But
Right. Like they're doing it with the Game of Thrones stuff. So like if
Hmm.
you can go into the world building or the history of different things that lead up to the Straw Hats, why not do that? Or go into just different avenues. Like there's enough source material that people can kind of make it their own like thing, but still be in the same world at the same time.
yeah,
Hmm.
there's so much. I like my head is exploding with ideas that you could do with spin-offs. The Tashigi one right
Yeah,
there, I think is fun.
Mhm.
Like an Indiana Jonesy quest for the swords, like that.
it is tough. I mean, I guess I want to say, like, oh well, anybody who tries to do a spin-off, like, as like, here's the true successor, here's the thing that's keeping the torch alive for One Piece or whatever. If it's not Oda, like, I feel like the magic touch is lost.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like, the people have been doing, I mean, well, I was gonna say
Dragon Ball
Toriyama.
Super.
Yeah, I was gonna say Toriyama, but then, like, he just passed, and
We
I
don't
I
really
guess
know.
he was more involved in Super and stuff than I realized. Like, I thought he was just mostly checked out. It was just kind of rubber stamping stuff. But
And Boruto, I
um,
know
that's also, Kishimoto is
Kishimoto
pretty,
got more involved.
yeah. Like, is
But
he
that's why
officially
I'm
writing it now
but
or
like the
something?
thing is Super and Boruto both revolve around the main characters in
Yeah,
some
yeah.
regard. I were the kids, like Harry Potterish style. But the not to mention that. But I think if you do it with completely different characters, you get a talented manga artist involved. They make their own story. Like Oda just lets them go hog wild. I think that could be fun. It could be
Mhm.
terrible, but I
Yeah.
think at least it's a risk, and I think at least it could be something really cool and special in a different way, set in that world. I think that's what's really cool about his world. You might as well use it and not tell the same story over and over again, which we've been doing. Uh, what are we on? Second anime that's going to be showing, which I'm not upset
Yeah.
about, but I think there are a lot of opportunities that I'm sure Toei and Shueisha are afraid to even consider because of no guaranteed profitability.
Right.
Um, Let's do these lightning rounds. What One Piece object would you want most in real life? Sam.
Object. I
in
want
real
the
life.
One Piece.
You don't even know what that is. Steven.
Yeah.
Steven, what do you want?
What object? Oh man. I'm like, I don't really want a transponder snail. Like, I don't need a giant snail in my house.
Now that we've seen what those look like,
You have to feed it.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to feed it. You have Simba already looking at you like, come on.
Yeah, one of the dials, like a cool dial, like a fire shooting one or something.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Or
Talk Boy
reject dial.
Yeah,
Why not the
reject.
reject?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I chose that Forever RPG.
The poneglyph.
What are you gonna do with a poneglyph?
I would. I
Find
would.
my One Piece.
I would. I'd make
Mine?
the museum. Like, I'll be like, oh, you can come see this poneglyph, right? And I would get money off of it. Like, yeah.
Just like a real museum.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a bunch of college kids coming in like this should go back where it belongs.
You see, now I'm trying to think of what object I would actually want from the One Piece world. I can't think of anything.
Like the meat. I want the food.
The food is a good answer.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the thing that was popping into my head, though, it has the same drawback as regular transponder snails, is the one Kizaru had on his wrist. If they make a watch that looks like a transponder snail, I would consider
that'd be
getting
cool.
it.
Yeah.
We've come up with good merch on this show in the last decade that they've never done. Anyway, so we're in lightning round. For Simba, wet or dry food? Turek asks. Steven.
He gets wet food. He has a special diet, so he has to get cans.
All right, more on Simba's special diet on the next SGS. Steven says, Parker says, so after so many theories about the big katana on Onigashima, do you think about the big freaking sword? Okay, we talked about that. It's too big for Oars or San Juan Wolf? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, this one looks way bigger than Onigashima sword.
It's got to be, because Elbaf is insane. Yeah. That thing's got to be bigger than, I don't know, like the biggest skyscraper is how I imagine that, which is insane. Jogproof says, which other manga team would you like to make a spin-off like the Sanji manga? Actually, that's a good example of a spin-off, but again, it's with the main cast, which makes sense, but
which artist, I think they're asking.
So
we had Boichi do Ace.
Oh god, we did.
I mean, the what's his name, the Food Wars guy did a pretty good job with Shokugeki no Sanji, so I could.
My moonshot would be Urasawa doing anything. No, not for
doing
Sanji.
like a Vegapunk prequel.
Yeah. Oh my god. Or like he did that. I mean, Pluto, the whole thing with Pluto. Like, imagine him doing a One Piece thing. That sounds fun in his style and his.
Ooh, who would I want? Why do I have to blank on a name now?
Or the Full Metal Alchemist, Arakawa? Is that who am I?
Kubo.
Oh, Kubo, yeah.
Something. Oh, you know. Oh, okay.
No enthusiasm.
The Bleach author?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bleach author.
Aren't they beefing?
Oh, are they?
Ooh. I don't know if I would say they were beefing, but they were not a posse. Let's just say that.
Okay. Then it's not gonna happen. But yeah.
Yeah.
What's next?
You heard it here. The Ramon says they should adapt One Piece Party. Also, Steven, are you going to translate One Piece Party anytime you think? I know you definitely can't answer that question.
Yeah.
Why, I can neither confirm nor deny sounds like the right answer, because you don't, and you're not. I don't want to even make you put you on the spot for that.
It sounds like, if I'm stepping outside of anything I may or may not know, like that seems like a series that would be very hard to translate. Like, there'd be a lot of work because it's so like joke heavy.
Layered.
One Piece
A
party.
One Piece party. And then there's the One Piece high school. Is that that's a different one?
That's different, yeah.
Oh, we've had
Is
a
it
few
the same
spin-offs.
author? I don't remember. Yeah,
I don't remember either.
I really don't keep up on. I don't have like the volume.
I'll say, as far as I know, Steven has not told me he's done either of those, so I'm assuming he has not. But I do actually hope that those come out. So whether or not that's happening or not, Steven doesn't tell me anything though.
No.
Nope, you never can. Last one. Are you worried Oda would do something in One Piece that would make you drop it? Like a lot of people didn't like the reveal about Bonnie's age in relation to her adult form is drawn. I mean, that was we discussed that specifically a lot.
Sure.
So we don't have enough time to rehash that in 3
I'm
minutes.
locked in till the end, I think. I just want to see what he wants to do.
The thing Greg mentioned. Oh, sorry, Chica, go on.
I was gonna say I don't even want to say anything out loud. I don't want anything to like I'm not even putting it.
Yeah.
I'm not putting it out in the ether, and then it's just like, oh, remember Chica said da da da, and then no.
That is how that works, and I'm not being sarcastic. That is how that works. Steven, what were we going to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm locked in. Obviously, just it just professionally speaking, it's obviously a huge deal for me. It was a lifelong dream to get to work on the series, and I don't see any like story development really changing that for me. But I'm definitely like aware of things that he could do that would like piss a lot of people off. Like I sort of constantly wonder about like what is he ever going to like accidentally let slip, or is he ever going to like do something with Yamato where it's like, oh yeah, Yamato is actually like female or whatever, and just kind of like piss everybody off who is going off of what the story has been telling us and things like that, which I think is a possibility. I don't know how likely.
At least I think it's at least a 50-50.
Right.
It's enough that like you could get egg on your face if you speak too like confidently. That
that's one of the reasons why I don't
I
put
forget
my foot down heavier.
Yeah, I won't go through that discussion right now. But yeah, I mean, you can never be 100% certain of anything he does, even if he says it.
Right. So,
but we could believe, I guess, we could have our headcanon.
It's a concern for me, also just as the translator of like, okay, like how do I interpret this? How do I not like accidentally step in it, and cause controversy or enable controversy or whatever. So, that's really more what I worry about than like something that I personally would find like completely abhorrent. I just don't think that's as likely, but
yeah, at least not purposefully. I mean, we've talked a lot
Right.
about the Kenshin author and all.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
crap.
there's a lot of reasons why you could write him off already.
Yeah, if you're looking to write him off, I think you can. But it's not like he hasn't done. That's pretty bad. But beyond that, like putting that aside, there hasn't been something so black and white yet. And we had a whole episode about this, I think in 2020, which I think I said my piece probably a lot better then. I will say that on a different note, what Greg and you were talking about on the SGS, I keep referring to, the idea he was talking about Lost and how you remember that ending because it was controversial. Like almost like if Oda comes up with the perfect ending, is that really going to be memorable enough? I wonder. And not that I'm saying I don't want the perfect ending, whatever the hell that is. Like
Right.
We don't know. He's always, one thing about Oda is, and I know Greg's talked about this a ton, is he always wants to surprise. He does not want you to expect what's going to happen.
Yeah, if the ending has to be like kind of sensational in some way.
Yeah, I think he is going to piss some people off in the ending, meaning it won't be what they want.
Mhm.
It might not.
Oh,
It might
yeah.
be us. We might be the people pissed off. It's very, very possible. But you know, at the same time, I think it's pretty clear that he knows what he wants to do, and he's had it planned since the beginning. In some fashion.
In some,
Yeah.
capability.
And I'm going to segue that into the fact that you could read Greg's newest
Oh, yeah.
entry for the end of One Piece, his dissection as to what do you say? He has like 20, he has a couple dozen new interview excerpts
Yeah,
in there. He just posted about because we
the
16 part 3 just came out.
16 more translated interviews for a total of 28 between parts 2 and 3.
And we have 2 more coming out. I think 4 is
Right.
coming out this week, and then probably the following week 5 is coming out, which is the whole 80-page treatise that he wrote. Exclusively on our website, onepiecepodcast.com. Check it out.
/ the end of One Piece.
If you want to get directly there, it's onepiecepodcast.com / the end of One Piece. Very good read. He put a lot of work into it. It's the most micro look at this stuff you could possibly grant. I feel like that's a good way to, what is it? Interesting, but completely useless information.
Yes,
tons of
that's
it.
Right.
Yeah. The motto of our show also, I feel like. Chico, where could people find you and your work?
Yeah, you guys can find me at Chica Supreme, chica.shoujosunday.com on Blue Sky, and Chica Supreme on Instagram, and you can listen to Shoujo Sunday wherever you get your podcasts from. Which I guess mini update. I know the last time I was on here, I was asking you all to vote for Shoujo Sunday to win an award. We won the award. So thank you, One Piece listeners who actually went out of their way and voted for us. We appreciate you so much. And I think you don't have to, I mean, you can listen to the podcast if you want to listen to Shoujo Sunday, but our most recent episode, we have like our acceptance speeches at the very beginning, if y'all care to listen to that. So yeah,
it's really awesome. Congratulations. I forgot that happened in the, I forget when things happen these days but that's really awesome. Big congrats. Listen to Shoujo Sunday if you don't, if you haven't before. Sam, what about you? Where can people find you?
They can find me on Blue Sky at lcsam.bsky.social. Is that, I never know what the formatting is.
So you could also get your own domain. Like Chica helped a little bit with getting. You could use your own domain for it. So if you own a domain of your name, you could use that. It's their version of verification. There's not another intimidation of the Shoujo of Chica from Shoujo Sunday. Because,
So they have a process that you can't just put it in there like it's a username. You have to
it is
verify it.
Right. No, it's not like you could just So Steven, if you want it, I know you don't want to be too connected to us, but if you wanted to be steven.onepiecepodcast.com, you could. Or Sam. But anyway, sorry, we're plugging.
And they can technically still find me on the website formerly known as Twitter. Like I'm at Lucky Chainsaw. It's really dying over there though.
It's bad. I should say if he changed his name, they should have done it like Prince and made it a like indecipherable symbol. So you had to call it this website formerly known as Twitter. Steven.
Yep, I am over on Blue Sky at stephenpaul.bsky.social. I clicked over just to, this is what I always do. I always have to click and make sure that I know the order, like Sam said. And it looks like it is not really fully loading right now. So growing pains. I know we've been talking about millions of new users, etc. Okay. You can see
Stephen
me there.
Paul. Sorry. stephenpaul.bsky.social.
That is it. Thank you, Chica. Over on Blue Sky. And I'm doing my reread of One Piece, 3 chapters every day. So you can see my thoughts about them whenever something in particular pops into my head. I do believe my first chapter tomorrow is going to be the Roger just laughed. So I'm like right in the middle of the
Wow, you're there.
flashback. Yeah.
That feels like a year ago, and I know it's not.
Oh yeah, it was way more than that. But yeah, it's fun. It's interesting going, particularly for Wano. I think like when you go through it and you don't have the time to think about all of the ways that the story could have gone but didn't. You're just like, oh, this is just what happened. It just goes right through, and it is a much smoother read in that sense than when you follow it week to week. But
yeah.
At any rate, that's where you can see me posting nowadays.
I'd be remiss if we didn't mention I haven't opened them quite yet.
Oh,
fully,
yeah.
but we have One Piece Volume 107 is out. I could show it, and the Wanted Eiichiro Oda before One Piece it's been subtitled here. That I cannot believe is out here.
It's finally out. Yeah,
it's out in every other country. In Japan, it's been out forever, but finally it is out in the United States. 28 years later, or however long it was originally. So I'm very excited to dive into that and see if it's good or bad or well. The monster story was fine. I'm looking forward to reading the rest. I'm very excited about that. You mentioned Akane Banashi, which I'm going to read after we're done recording, probably.
Yes.
Which has been so damn good. Someone made a joke. I thought we were talking about Akane Banashi today, and I was actually thinking about that earlier. I'm like, we could just do that on the off week since there's been so many. I could talk about that. I don't know if I could do per chapter because they have a lot less happens per chapter than in One Piece. But you can check me out at zach.onepiecepodcast.com. I'm back on social media. I mean, I've been there, but no one was on Blue Sky. Now everyone's there, so you can follow me there. We're on onepiecepodcast.com on Blue Sky, or One Piece Podcast anywhere else. We're back on Facebook. I think I told this story as well. We used to have 50,000 there, and Facebook randomly took us down for no reason, and we're starting from the bottom. So try and build back up. So follow us there if you haven't. Even if you don't use your Facebook, follow us. And then log back off. And please check us out. There's a QR code here if you're watching on Patreon, patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. Please support us. We'll be putting lots of other cool stuff. Hopefully we'll do another live show as well at the end of the year. We do one a lot to go through our favorite episodes and
that's right.
Images and stuff, or at the beginning of the year. I always really like doing these live shows and talking with fans, and I would probably do this weekly, but again, then we would all have to look presentable every week. And not that I do right now. I didn't put too sensitive, whatever. Check us out again, onepiecepodcast.com for new articles. Kirsten, I almost forgot, just put out an article, somewhat exclusive look at the One Piece only exhibit in Tokyo, where they you literally walk through every single page of the manga. It's really cool. There's some really cool images from there. I know. They also show the printing process for volume 100 and for chapter 1000 and the different stages. If you're not well acquainted with all the minutia, like Steven and I and everyone here is, definitely worth the read. And our phone number 347-497 Maji. Thank you. Phone number 347-497-6254. Calling time. With your questions, comments, theories, or why you're an LB Babu.
LB Babu.
Did I say that right? LB Babu. Thank you all for coming on. Next week, I don't even want to say yet what we're doing next week.
You don't want to jinx it after.
I don't want to jinx it. It was supposed to be this week, which is why this was super last minute. And I really want to thank Steven, Sam, and Chica for coming on and keeping me company, because I really thought it was just going to be me talking at all of you tonight. It's much easier. I'm not a YouTuber. I can't just talk at a screen. I need to talk at people. But Chica, I hope we see you next week for the thing that I won't
Yes.
mention.
It'll be if fingers crossed that it happens. But if it happens, listeners, don't think of me any differently. Okay, like we're still cool. Okay, like just things can be a little out there, but yeah.
That's a great tease
Okay.
and accurate.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week for that, maybe. And we'll be back in 2 weeks for our hopefully chapter 1132 recap. Until then, my name is Zach. We'll see everyone next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for coming, everyone. Okay. I mean, we're still on. I should say goodbye to all the live viewers too. Thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll see you on the other side. Goodbye, everyone.